This guy is dissing Congolese. Put some respect on Kanda Bongo Man's name.
That's Africa's biggest genre, actually. For the
We should remix that and say, in the evening, in the evening, yeah.
In the forest.
Omutagula, in the... Did you guys ever like remix those songs when we were young? Like those South African songs, and you put your own words?
Congolese mainly.
Congolese, for us it was South African. That was a song which used to go like, Headmaster Jamo Tempaling.
What about the other one?
You know that one? You guys know that song?
You might have to sing it for us to know.
You don't know that rhythm?
Which one?
Headmaster Jamo Tempaling.
This guy started in the sorority. How will you know those things?
But maybe if he puts the original.
How about
Owama
Sameru?
At least we even know the lyrics to that one.
Owama Sameru. But were they talking about a chick like with pretty eyes or what?
Mkomboti.
Because Masameru means like white eyes.
Mkomboti is like Malwa.
How sweet the beer is.
So it was an ad for like their version of a Nile special.
Malwa, like the local brew.
Oh, Malwa. Omuramba. This man likes
in the morning, that guy needed to be arrested afterwards. So.
Put some respect on Kanda Bongo Man's name. That guy had style,
Kanda Bongo Man was dope, but for that song...
He's the one who sang in the morning.
Yeah, but in...
Oh, is that someone else?
That guy is built up to here, like...
Now, another reason to be arrested.
You guys let's put that in where the songs or something.
You know, but...
Nabujana.
A friend of mine told me.
Let me see.
Baby silly.
Let me see.
Let's not play ourselves now.
But everyone used to sing. But people used to sing karaoke. Kumbe, they don't even.
What about Kasongo? Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think you can tell already by the mood of this podcast that people are not serious. We are singing about serious songs. Somebody brings Kasongo. This is the Zambaland podcast. Welcome here, place for having fun, building conversations onto the industry with friends. And today, I'm blessed to have my nearest and dearest friends in the building. Dr. Kwoba is still in the building. We have the Ejakite himself, the Epolon, Mr. Eddy Collins, the man from the East, the Nigerian, the Oga. The Oga from the East.
The American.
Banang, the American. So many things. Kamwani General, the Don. Hey, everything. Yeah. Welcome to the pod, sir.
Thanks, man. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, and then we have Mr. Music, the music man himself, the CEO of his own life, the promoter of artists, the discoverer of talents, the whisperer, the god.
Yeah, my guy.
What did he tell us the king of Tanzania is called?
Mfalme.
The Mfalme. The man that came from Pemba.
In Uganda it's called Omfalume.
Omfalume, yes. Yes, Mr. Green himself, the producer extraordinaire, is on the pod with us.
Yeah, man.
Yes, man. And on my right in China, our name is Mr. Chintu Mohammed, manager, photographer, Kwegamba. He has seen this industry from the time... You've been here since the 60s, eh?
Him and MC Cat, yes. Days.
Why don't you give me an introduction? The one you
people.
gave me with the same introduction you gave to him.
We give that man his respect. He came with his... You know, these Tanzanians used to advertise Mutula Kungo, Pemba. These are the guys. We put respect on his name.
Actually, me, the reason why I've been in the industry 15 years.
Yeah.
But I got lucky that I started Multimedia Arena.
Yes. So what does that mean?
Multimedia Arena is a 360.
Yes.
Graphics, video, animation.
Yes.
Project planning, the events that you see, everything that concerns media.
Yes.
That's why you find I can do photography, I can do video, I have an idea on animations, I do graphics, I do everything. I do projects now. I organize events more of late.
Yes.
Because I started project planning.
Yes.
So, but that
oyinza okutugamba ebyo byonna byonna which sounds so fancy nga wasomera wano ku UBC.
wanu ku uptake si wala nnyo.
Uptake is a very,
What's
very
wrong
good
with
school.
UBC, you guy?
Actually, I didn't mean it as an insult. I just said, eh? Ladies and gentlemen, I only say this to be facetious. You know, this is our national TV. We give them respect. Most of the media people actually. Bavirideyo ku UBC. Ochimanyi?
Yeah, me as well.
But you know me and
Negwe, you want on salaries. We're talking about the people who are on salary, people who are trained, they are part of the program. For you are just obedient to fence, no waga.
but you know, like most people I know, they never watch UBC.
Yeah, but you most
Even
But
when
they
they
watch
watch the
QTV.
subscription, you know, it's only when they leave.
But they watch
Guys
QTV.
don't even watch it.
but actually
No, most people watch UBC actually. You might find that nationwide, most people watch UBC more than any other station.
Maybe the
Yeah,
the
most
old guys.
especially when you go to offices, when you go there, always watch.
Yo, these guys in
Yeah.
World Cup, UBC World Cup, there's a game playing and then they cut off the game and they put the presidential speech in the middle of the World Cup final.
Because it's a
Oh, that
national-
happened?
It does happen all the time.
It's a national.
you know UBC is
So
covered.
the Champions
all over
League
the
game
country.
and then these guys just bring some other guy talking about
That
some
reminds
stuff.
me of when I was a child and it would be in the middle of like either Captain Planet, you know, you're watching like Oba Cavington Cross in the middle of like something epic. Then my dad would the guy would say, and switch to UBC, and then the guy would be like, Taifa ya habari, muzuri. You're like, come on, Aisiwa. You're like, ah, man, when is this ever going to
If I
end?
have actually at 6 p.m. I can't even forget the time. Oh my goodness.
It's Louis Banya in the evening. Good evening. Netugamba at Louis Banya tunaonya coach.
You're from school, you want to watch cartoon and it's Taifa Habari.
Taifa ya habari. You're like,
I remember Bale Francis, but the others I don't.
yeah.
The Taifa, the ones you're talking about.
You're in the middle of Pingu. Pingu is about to catch a fish and go play with his buddy. They switch.
They
And
play
then
that national anthem,
You're like, no, you busy. You got to be kidding.
And they
me.
don't apologize, they just switch.
Hey, that's what and I think a guy used to pull a lever. Nganene na jisika kuvaiwa bulu. Na switch. Ah man, memories. Did you guys ever know it? Did you know a guy who was called Michael Makamazibu? Right? How about you, kids born in 2000?
That's why we kept quiet.
So Michael Makamazibu was the first host of a music show in this country that people used to watch. At least in my books, Nze gwe nali mmanyi, who used to host like a music show. So all these other songs that have been remixing at the beginning of the show, the Omutagula, all those used to play on his channel. And music used to come. He was our gateway to seeing music from Senegal, South Africa,
Oliver Ngoma.
the Congo. But we never got any Sudanese music, though. We never got any music either from Sudan.
But do we have any?
Yeah.
Even now we don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
Sudan
do.
has very good
Yeah,
music.
it has musicians and they have music, but
Yes.
it's rare on a rare occasion to
To hear Sudanese song?
yeah.
In the 90s, a friend of mine told me the only country that managed to penetrate every corner of Africa was Congo. Even South Africa struggled to do that, but Congolese, that's why you see even the Nigerians, the music they do, is an inspiration from Congo.
Because Congo sits like right in the middle of everything, eh?
Yeah.
And I think most of you actually immigrated from that basin, the Congolese
Congo
basin,
basin.
if you're to trace your roots. So whatever they produce kind of resonates with your soul and spirit immediately. You know, right?
They have
Msajja akwata jita najira does the seven rhythm, all of you move and die. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
That's some iconic stuff, man.
Oh, you get?
That
you need
melody is
you
iconic.
need to sample
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But now how do you clear
Whoever
the
played
sample?
that, God bless you. God bless you. Now, we're in the presence of a person who has been working with a band, yeah? And our question to them is, why hasn't Ugandan music reached that greatness of like a Zaiko Langalanga, the guy who sang Mario, Franco, yeah, Madilu system.
West Musica.
Even this other guy who screams, Siriampunu watendi munyankore. Ah, you know
Awilo.
that guy? Awilo, yes.
I even hosted him last year here.
You brought him here.
Yeah.
But do we have a band here that beats Awilo's greatness in Africa?
Afrigo.
Afrigo,
He
rivals.
himself he says he idols Afrigo so much.
He likes Afrigo, yeah?
Because in 2023, Afrigo was celebrating 48 years and we had to host him as a guest. He was so happy. In fact,
I'm sorry, I'm going to move this microphone closer to you. Wait.
One.
Yes, yes.
So
He's a smooth talker.
He's a smooth
So
talker, yes.
Awilo was, he even pleaded to have at least a remix of a song, Jim.
Yes.
Because it was like he grew up knowing a Afrigo band.
Yes.
But you ask a question of why
haven't other bands managed to like transcend these boundaries and create rhythms like that? Yet, ebyuma tebiri expensive. Wano webiri. Chiche ganye. What refused?
I think it's the originality. One the structure of our nation.
Yes.
When you look at South Africa, Congo, Tanzania, the government is involved. Same with Nigeria. Mobutu loved music so much. That's why the Francos, those other artists had to break through.
Yes.
If you've heard of Lipa band, those guys broke through because the government loved the music. The president himself, he would support.
So he would fund be a patron of.
Yes. Many of you love Afrigo band because Afrigo band was also supported one time with the government itself.
It was supported by Amin and
by Amin, yes.
Was
because
Amin
the president was Amin. Because
Amin
actually
loved Afrigo.
He loved Afrigo, so he pushed Afrigo so much, which means they had to improve their music.
Yes,
and
to a national
standard
okay.
and to even an international standard. When you hear Afrigo's music is not mastered here from the 1970s. Mastered from the Sweden, from the US, from the UK. So they understood the niche of their music, the sound. That's why you see Afrigo, if they have videos, they're not even more than 10. Yes. But the audio itself, Afrigo has 22 albums. But one album can kill you. Just one album.
Like
even the Gen Z's, yes. Even
one bite.
One album. If you see these ones, they were born in the 2000s.
Yes.
But trust me, on the 20 albums, at least on each album, they not list a song.
At least a song. Yes.
So
yes.
Because Afrigo understood the music, because Afrigo does salsa fused with Congolese sound. I don't know how they call it.
And a little bit of Congolese rumba.
Yes, Afrigo does rumba, and I don't know what they call the Brazilian sound. Is it
Samba?
Samba. So Afrigo does that. So he fused the two. Then they sang Luganda.
Oh,
that's the sweetness.
Yes.
So Afrigo, for example, Maria. That song sounds exactly like a song in Brazil.
Yes.
But they sing Luganda.
Sometimes Afrigo reminds me of a band from Cuba called Buena Vista Social Club. Baina sound is similar. And I think one other person who tried to penetrate that was from the Ijakait's land.
Okudi.
Mr. Okudi. But before Okudi, there was that other song. The Ejoka Wulira, Ekologokola Wulira.
That's also Afrigo.
It's called Emali, eh?
That's also Afrigo. That's Rachel Magola.
No way. Yeah. That's Afrigo?
Yeah.
No,
okay, Afrigo, I've given up.
They reproduced.
No.
Reproduced.
No. It's Rachel Magola's song. It's called Eyauni Emali. It was sung for the Itesot.
What does that song mean? Please tell us.
Emali.
Yes.
It basically means, it's nice to, give birth because in our cultures, when a girl is married off,
yes,
the husband has to bring some goods.
Some dowry.
It's a business.
I think that's
a
like
wedding song.
I think that's everywhere. I think that's everywhere. I think that's everywhere in Africa. Dowry is expected.
Yeah, so it's like a mother rejoicing that it's very good to give birth.
Oh, this time it's not the dad. The mom is also part of the cut.
Yeah.
She's getting her bag. She's like,
she's going to brag the community. You said, my daughter will not get married. Have you seen her?
Yes. Okay.
Emali is actually you know, a Luganda kind of.
Wealth.
I think a Mali comes from Swahili.
Yeah.
Mali means
Mali.
money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mali was brought here by either the traders. It's a trade route word. Even the Baganda just adopted it.
Yeah.
The word for money in Luganda is Nsimbi.
But I think there are artists who have broken through. Like 2 days ago, I was googling, but I googled Chameleon. And I googled his nominations.
Yes.
I was surprised to see that Chameleon had a mobile nomination,
Oh yeah,
world music
that was,
nomination,
yeah, we all know about the mobile
and the world
nomination.
What
music.
about
Do you
the
know that he
Cora?
was nominated in the World Music Awards?
I won a World Music Award too. Do you guys know that?
Really?
It's right there. It's right there in the corridor when you're walking. Come here.
Which means you guys have done it.
We are big.
But you know,
We tell you are big. You guys don't know. I'll also begin showing all my. I saw Eddie Kenzo. They copied my list. We know where I usually put all my hits. They're like, for us now, let's put all the countries where we've toured. Now I'm also going to start putting festivals where I've toured.
Eddie Kenzo took
Since
his-
you guys don't know that I've
Eddie
won
Kenzo took his BET to
international
the
awards.
museum, my guy.
That's not a museum. You think that's a museum? Uganda, we need to be serious as a country. Please, as a country. That's not a museum. Eyo si museum. Tujitume ekintu ekirala. Tujitume maybe our culture store, but that's not a museum. We need to put money together, as we are one of the most diverse places in the world. The most. That gift is so unique that it can bring us a lot of money. So, to call your contribution to Chijeku government, we as a people we deserve better representation when it comes to having a museum, your store. Because I used to go there, by the way, in primary school. Remember, primary, secondary, they used to take us there. This was the first car in Uganda. You're like, wow, the car. And
Rolls
you know, like,
Royce.
all these things were really dope.
to the museum.
Is it
Until you
Mutesa's
get
car?
shocked. It was Motesa's car, yeah?
Yeah.
And Obote.
It's a dope car.
Yeah.
But it's until you walk through the doors of a real museum. and then
And
you're
they're
like,
like, yeah.
yo,
Somebody must have
Batulimba.
packed this here.
Yeah, like-
telling us.
Yes. Man, you enter the... How would we have a whole culture of like Banyoro, the Nyungu Yamawes, the what? Ngate wali yo deka artifact akaliyo, you're just telling us stories. That's not a museum.
Actually, I stayed in that
At least
area.
let's recreate it and say this is what the representation of what that would look like.
Yeah.
We have sculptors. We have people who can... Let's put these artisans to some work. Nze munkwaso mulimu ogobannange. Museum eberenga museum. That's a store. That's a culture
Maybe
store.
if they hand it to you, it could work. But the guys who are handling that here, we need to first solve the problem of hunger.
Guys are eating money.
Hell is hungry.
We first solve the problem of hunger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys are feeding
But
themselves.
someone is going to be like,
let me. I hate to have these discussions because most of these discussions now in this political environment turn out to be political. But I'm attempting to have a social discussion, right? Like, there are countries, right, where you build upon what you've been blessed with. So in Uganda, one of the things we've been blessed with, whether you like it or not, it's our diversity, that twin tribes, 62 tribes.
yeah.
Like 62 documented tribes, each with a history, each with a cuisine, each with something.
Lifestyle.
A lifestyle, you get me? So, you can't tell me that there is nowhere where I can go and find that in one center represented. For example, nze bwe mba kati njagala emmere, embobeze, enfumbe in a Buganda traditional sense, I'm going to be hard pressed to find anything like that.
Yeah.
Kone bagibobeza kati bagibobereza mu kaveera. They put that in a kadeya and then they present that to you. But if we put up a center where people can actually pay dollars, pay euros, pay yens, because that's omuntu omubuuza what are the top 5 things to do in Kampala, and bakunyumiza Kasubi tombs, and then they begin saying, tukutwaleko ku independence manya monument. They can think, I'm even taller than it.
Can you believe Rolex is the tourist attraction?
Okuya Rolex.
Okay, that's an experience. Tourism comes in like so many forms. Even that's food tourism too, yeah. But I'm talking about like a collective space. Wosobola okuingira n'ogamba, and Itesot man used to look like this. Akasisira kenga kafanana bwe kati. He used to have wife 1, wife 2. Like the bombers in Kenya have this. When you go to Kenya, all their tribes represented, how they used to live, their food.
But I think the
and
huts
there's-
are there
Where?
behind.
In the museum?
Yeah, they have those huts.
62 huts.
Yeah, the Banyoro,
Yes.
the Buganda hut, how it looked like.
Yes.
They're there, actually there up to now.
Okay, I haven't seen them. But the last time that when I'm sculptures
No, they're just huts, how they look.
One thing I know about the
Okay.
tourism sector in
Yes.
Uganda,
it's still growing.
there's an issue with it. It doesn't grow.
There is
Trust me.
nothing.
I think it's growing. I want to cut them some grace while also painting the picture of.
Yeah, there's just a problem. You know.
Every time we are growing.
We are growing.
Now
Okay,
comes we never
guys,
grow.
the picture I wanted to paint, nabadde njagala kulaba nti we can base on our cultural richness, yeah, and attract and pull people here off just what we have. All we need to do is find a center where they can experience the dance, the food, the colors, the paintings. Agenda okuva nga tumukamuddemu $5 in a day.
Can you
One
imagine-
visitor 500, and if it's a family, that's a bigger package. That feeds the hunger. But if we don't invest in these things, someone else is going to come and profit off them.
What you just said, right?
Yeah.
I have friends that every time I'm thinking, oh, that's the thing, the only that I'm always thinking, no.
But walewa.
Yes. Because every time we are going somewhere, it's like, oh, we are going to do every city, but I'm always like, Uganda.
But Uganda has a
Aside
lot.
from Kubale, you know.
Kubala.
Yes, the Chibala.
No.
And the Chibala, we should also actually invest
sell
in
it
the
as an
Chibala
experience.
culture as an experience.
Right. But I'm always like,
Every day, Chibala every day.
Yes.
what am I going to do for you with them in Kampala?
Mm.
One day.
Mm.
But I think
Yes.
we just need
Yes,
to.
yes.
You see, you say
Compared to other countries, sorry, you struggle to for a visitor who travels and they go for experiences in other cities, you struggle with things to do in Kampala if it's an itinerary of about a week. Day one, you could go do the Chibala, take them have the street food. Day two, nemugende yo mu national park nemukomawo. Day three, trust me, abera beer yeka.
Because then you're like,
Ochitegeera, there's nothing else to do.
It's
Yeah.
hard. These roads are
Yeah.
hard for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I tell people, we're going to be driving. They're like, driving 6 hours. They while you were plane. Then you're like, let me look for a plane.
So what would we
Then
say?
they go
Should
do. Then you thought you'd kill like 3 days by telling them, let's go drive, get a hotel there. They kill that within, together we see the gorillas and then we are back in the morning. So you end up like, now what do we do? You take them to Ndere Center. Okay, that's one night. Then you're like, what do I do? So someone needs to really actually make it a deliberate effort to curate experiences for visitors, and we need to have a serious center, a culture, because our culture is our wealth.
and culture is actually Uganda is culture. You know. Sometimes I wonder why we go to Zanzibar. We go to Zanzibar just because of that white sand.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, Uganda. But I know why Zanzibar is making more money now. Like she said before, we need to understand ourselves. Uganda, as per now, needs to be a destination country for summer, for people from winter during summer.
Yes.
Because we have a lot.
Yes.
We have a lot, but we fail to understand who we are. Economically and socially, because trust me, we have the best sceneries, we have the best weather, we have the best food. We have all varieties of food, including the fruits. But you cannot tell me that someone flies in, they go to Fort Portal, and that's it.
So you see, we have those good experiences. No Lyagambye obusisira jebuli. There's a time when my partner, they had to drive up to, or was it Bundibujo, somewhere like in the West area. But because they wanted to make this brew, local brew, like African women, webabikola, where you grind kurubengo, you make the millet into whatever, ferment, bichi. Babikola byonna, they made the shabwe, they made the bushera and whatever, and all these other things, and then they weaved baskets. But they had to drive so far. I think most Western economies was thriving as that they make it so convenient that it's well within reach. So when you're giving them this ticket, when you're paying for this ticket, a person can spend half a day there just going through room A, room B, room this, and just like learning. videos are used, audio recordings are used, tour guides, the sculptors are making their things, the women that weave baskets are there, the fashion is involved. You get me?
But also,
Yeah,
we have
all these
this
other
thing-
things that Bibelanga is so convenient. But we have them here. And trust me, there are people who are trying to revive the industry or to make it move forward. But the experiences are just too scattered. They're too scattered. California has the highest number of visitors to Uganda, tourism-wise. Did you guys know that? Most visitors to Uganda now, Tepavana Europe, California. But they only come here because bagala gorillas.
That's what we've sold.
But we have so many other things besides the gorillas. Twagala, but tulekereza gorilla naye tugendenga fashion they have bought, baskets they have bought, our furniture that we're just ready to ship to them. Like there's no reason why we shouldn't have like a Ugandan chair designed that can be in a New York apartment.
And it's there.
Yeah.
But like you know, like you said, you get surprised when you drive up country. Like for example, Maction Falls during summer, June, July, you get surprised seeing people, tourists there, and you're like, are these people really here? But someone comes in, they spend whatever they spend, but they don't even go with a souvenir out there.
Kati nogenda bajerega banyigire anti kati nzo banyigira bunyigiza naku zino naye wewo yateekwa kugamba ensowera ekwagala ye kugwa kubbwa. Guys, like, why does all Ugandan art look the same? Have you ever gone to our villages batunda art? Buli omu yabagize ka guy with a spear. Everyone nakola guy with a spear and all of them look the same? Like binyiza. All of them, mutimba lesunga. Lesunga have the same pattern. African print is the same thing. Nobody has thought about things that are out of the box. Ochiraba, like, I know we are trying, but we need to try harder. And the thing is that the reason why we need to try harder is because we are still thinking in the same boxes of creating. Tuchakwata bukwa skatiba, to take our then we say, people from outside the countries love this. Chidi ugly. But I think the innovation of all these art students and the combination of our ancestral wisdom can be married into workshops and things and making deliberate efforts to create Ugandan products and experiences that attract and bring money to our lovely country. Yeah.
You know, even with the artists, an artist goes to perform on stage and copies an outfit that was well in the US, yet we have people who are creative here who can do something really better for an artist to come perform.
Actually, speaking about that, there's this thing we have in Uganda. Who makes these guys clothes when they're going on stage? I'm not trying to diss. I'm not trying to diss, but whenever there's a concert, the artist that has organized the concert comes out with some funny dress codes.
On that, let me defend the designers. On that, it could be a matter of taste. On that, it could be a matter of taste that some people dress badly. Actually, for you to dress badly and go on stage, you're dressed in something ridiculous, right? It only speaks to your taste because you're the commander of the show. Nobody's going to force you to wear a dress which is ridiculous. Nobody's going to force you to put,
but
like
that cuts across so many artists.
Yeah, but it also boils down to taste. This color does not go with this ngagamba.
No, but I think Zamba, it goes back to the fashion designer. You know, when you're a fashion designer, you've got a free runway.
Yeah.
Do they get from the same designer, or it's like different designers?
They're different designers, but our designers have an issue. You know, most artists are okay with wearing free outfit to promote you, but you have to understand the artists themselves.
Yes.
Then you build something onto them, because like I said, you've got free runway.
Yes.
You're not going to do a showcase. You have a free showcase. If you have 3 outfits or 4 outfits for an artist, that's marketing for you.
So you're saying that the fashion designers don't know what they are doing?
Yeah, the fashion designers have issues.
On this side, I'm going to be on the side of the designers, because Uganda's designers, because when I go to a brands, whenever they're exhibiting something, you see that Uganda's fashion is growing much more faster than other sectors, actually.
Yeah.
But the designers are doing their thing.
There's a guy
have you guys ever been to like a church on a Christmas? No gamba naye gundi bichi byoyamba. Nigga yagenze nabyegulira nagende omutunzi nabitunga.
There's a guy who almost died on stage.
Who?
He was wearing the astronaut suit that he could not breathe.
But the designers that he's talking about, Zamba, the designers that you're talking about at A-Brands, those designers don't even reside in Uganda, most of those ones.
But they're Ugandans.
Yes, they are Ugandans, but they...
Stylist?
No, he usually brings designers.
Who are you talking about?
A-Brands. Is he a designer or a stylist?
I think he's a stylist.
He's a stylist. But he brings designers on the fashion event. But the designers that he brings, my dear, even one outfit is expensive. Actually,
I think he's a designer and a stylist because he designs his own brand now. There's a brand of underwear, sportswear. He's a designer and a stylist. But tubalina wanene abasobola ku exporting ebintu ebirine ku runways ebweru.
Naye mwagala ku spending anti mwe kati.
You're not talking to me because for me I spend on Ugandan stuff.
Kuba artist ajja n'ayagala amukolera ebintu. First of all, one kanzeko ne kusaidia ba designer. One artist designer bamuwa a designer.
Now you guys should differentiate a costume from an outfit. Just sort of kwambalango gende bweru. A costume is for performance.
They are given costumes,
about a person wearing tin for you.
But Zamba, do you know why I can never be on the side of designers? I myself have tried 4 times to dress a Frigo band with fashion designers, but I always get disappointed.
Ngabakutungire bitenji.
Inspiration. Nomugamba, give me this. Nakuwa echalowooza ati nachukwa bobi. The artists, you know how organized a Frigo band is. But even the artists are available to fit in, and the designer doesn't come.
I think you're working with the wrong designers. Let me give you 3 designers.
I've worked with all.
Ngenda kuwa 3 Ugandan designers who know what they are doing. And for you people think that the people who are popular are the ones who are good. Ne waliwo abana nga bali underground who can give you the product joy yagala. I think I have no problem with Bitenji. You might think I have a problem with Bitenji. I think Bitenji is nice, but I think it's overly overdone. and I think fashion should be also allowed to evolve. African fashion should evolve. And by the way, let me break your heart. I mean, most of these things were printed. No, not even Tanzania. Most of these things were printed in the Netherlands. That's not African print. Mugende munonye munyige nayenga ge mazima banange. African fashion should evolve. Like there is a way we can fully express ourselves. Nga fashion agenda evolving with the times, but yet it shows our Africanness and tufu. The boys who are doing jewelry, they have arrived. Jewelry ntujogira bantu here too say. Naye ngoye bachayambala kiri ekitenji ne bachukwamu ka triangle one.
Actually African we need to evolve. Africa needs to evolve its fashion being because first of all they need to go away from the ruggedness. They have to be at least sweet. You know when you see African fashion designers, most of them have to be rugged, the rough, the dirty, the look. Someone has to fashion has to appeal to anyone. Like for example, a T-shirt was designed by someone, but anyone wears a T-shirt.
Yes, I don't think I disagree with the analogy of the rugged look. Abantu smart. I'm just saying that but you could be know that it hasn't evolved like over the years. Never better smart. Ochiraba. Never African smiles buline the picture perfect, right?
African smile.
Kamanyako. Gay. Kati ne waliwo echimisinga, right? That chitenji is not dressed with some jewelry. And even if it's rugged, osumto sokupela ne chintunga chiri rugged, nenga atonyumie. It can be rugged, it can even almost look dirty. Nenga atonyumie, you're clean. So this designer called Virgil Abloh in a philosophy art, Ngagamba, you either make the piece the center of attention by painting its surroundings or by no jaw surroundings and you let the object shine. So you can either go for the clean cut look or outfit here shining or by no genda for the rugged look where it's your personality shining.
Yeah, but that one. Whatever now it has to evolve. It has to look like.
Yes.
And first of all, we are creative, but we are reluctant.
We're lazy.
We are so lazy that we will call outfit you. Trust me, everyone would want to do that.
Yes.
Instead of challenging you and doing better. Like, for example, Abraham has that event, but everyone would want to do the way Abraham does it. But you can do. Me one time I told them, well, how about if you do a fashion runway in the national park at sunset? And they're like,
"Ooh, that's amazing! That's an amazing idea."
Yes.
No, it's
always, you know.
That can be the end.
First of all, ebintu tebikolaga na sound, the huge sound. Two, tebikolaga na barricades. Trust me, ate nekyala mu national park okimanyi mulimu hotels, ecologies.
There are hotels, yes.
Yeah, ecologies.
Yes.
Ate ecologies is positioned in an area where you have wildlife and the sunset and the sunrise.
Yes, yes.
So if you have ideas like that,
that's a brilliant idea.
Niyo muntu nakola fashion runway. Serena. No man anaja nakola Serena.
Serena is convenient because I can give on the defense of my brother Abraham.
Not Abraham, actually. Because I'm also doing one at Serena. I'm also doing one at Serena.
What?
I'm also doing one event at Serena.
But for Abraham, the reason Kwango Gambe Serena Nempulirango yagala kumanyira.
No. Abraham see a kakola fashion event. Arapapa did it.
Ejetumani Kwanga is the biggest in Africa. But if I'm inviting international designers and I'm looking to collaborate with a hotel and have convenience when I'm choreographing a movement of like so many things, Beranchagala mu center nga bempise bagenda kubera comfortable. So Serena makes sense.
Let me tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Gloria Wavamono used to do Kampala Fashion Week.
Oh, I remember that.
She
that
used
was
to
amazing.
host guys from the New York City and the whole crew. Naye
Ayinza kuba yali abasuuza waka ennyumba yabwe bonnene.
No, si waka. But she used to do, like, for example, yakolako runway ko railway station, the railway station, in the midnight, and it was so beautiful. Nakolako wano muyenga wano ku forest resort, but the nenga abantu baleeta bonna almost 60% sibawa. The photographers, the producers, everything. You know, we have like you said, we have to think beyond making money.
There are two ways of
and
hosting
convenience.
things. I get you, but there are two ways of hosting things.
They love what they're doing, or they're doing it for money.
No, but what there's you hosting someone at a chinemo entertainment industry. Ate nacho chinyiga naye sinaba kyogera bulungi. Kiringanga ebi kiri mu bucket yebitenje. We need to go out and reinvent. There is where people get an opportunity, but that opportunity is out of sympathy.
Yeah.
Then when mulowooza mbo bakikubye, yet the opportunity is because let's just put them on. But I think where we need to get to as creatives, if we are to like really, really develop, right, is where you stand on merit. No gamba, this designer came from Karamajong, her jewelry is #1 in the whole world. Omuntu namugulanga talabena design oyo. The design hasn't come please buy my stuff. I'm feeding all the widows and whatever. No.
Sure.
Where her work shines, where it's the pride in the work and the product.
Yeah.
So tukikozesa nnyo ekyo mu music
Sina music here. Sina music here.
Like naye tusiteko okuvaayo where we are like these people are like really, really good and they're standing on merit.
You see how Abraham has built his brand. Nakera ku machana akola asfas ezo nga talabiseeko ku venue. Onzola problem. Yakoze event aliwo. In Uganda we do something because of someone. Twatachinga nyo someone's name to something
but
else.
The event is called Abrahams.
Yeah, but it's a brand.
It's called Abrahams. But that's in everything. That's in everything. Even for Facebook. Actually I was reading a book. It's called Know Your Why, right? And in this book the author is comparing Steve Jobs' mode of running Apple ne Bill Gates. Nagamba Bill Gates were fakat. The company is gone and the vision. They have a difficulty going forward. But this other guy died. Tim Cook was able to continue with that vision. So it's always a founder's dilemma of how to create a system that can actually run without them. It's not only Ugandans that are suffering with that. Ne companies are nenengazi Walmart. But now there are problems where if the founder goes, they are in problems in year 2 or year 1. Yeah, jota chiri wanoka. Chiri everywhere.
You talked about the sympathy card, and that's the issue I have with awards. when you say that like when you mentioned Chameleon won this award, I'm like, so what does it really mean to the impact that someone has to make for it to make sense that they are legend?
What does the award
because
have
I
value
feel
to?
like big international awards just include us so that they don't say they undermine.
They even create for us our own categories.
Diversity.
They create for us our categories.
They're like, no one has ever, East Africa is there, and you know,
Koyoka,
and
East
we're talking
Africa
about
best song.
Africa.
No, but I think
Give Eddy Kenzo a beat.
you're right, but that used to happen. That used to happen back in Eddy.
That's how we feel.
No, that's not how it feels.
That's how we feel.
No.
Because
actually, on
back
this one,
in the day,
on
it
this
used
one.
to. But now Africa has taken over the world. That anything that you do is focused.
But on that one, I don't think it was by. I don't think that one lies in that in that category.
I know. I might have used it as an example because it's the only one who won that particular one.
Yes, let me take that example and put it in the right light. CAK winning, even Radio and Mozilla.
They were nominated.
They were nominated. They did not win. But there's so many categories. There's so many categories. Yes.
Even Eddy Kenzo wasn't.
But that's the
shown.
thing. That's the thing. That's not for African artists. That's the thing for organizations like BET.
Yeah.
And even the Grammys, by the way. When they struggle to market and also do what's right, yeah, they kind of create these categories. It speaks to your sympathy, but it also appeals to their marketing. They want the African market because the diaspora community is so big. They want to create this award because they want the Africans to come to their awards. But then Bagalaziwa were on the sides because they want to run all the sponsor ads. They want to run all the sponsor ads during the show or when somebody is performing. So you're not a main, a lead person. And it... Yeah, that's the fact.
Neroyalty baba tebagala kuwa kuba bwewangula award votinga berwandizo so kujja n'oclaiming royalties ezo kuba bawangudde vis-a-vis the ads kati bagabala ebintu bingi royalties ezo yakasente kabe tebagala kagabana nawe
but it's the African guy that they give you behind, like backstage.
So but at the end of the day, it's not only African artists. There's not only African artists. There have been so many other There are even white artists who win.
Africa is so big and they just sideline us so much.
The whole continent.
I know.
We are very talented, many like they really.
It's good that we are having. It's good that we are having this topic. Please finish your thought. Sorry,
they don't really search for the real. They get the one that is closer. Hey, this one. Where are you from? We don't have any category. We don't have any. You understand? And they include. But the thing is, we respect all the awards and those that win the awards. But the conversation was and the challenge was for Ugandans. So Eddy Kenzo has won the BET. So is he better than Chameleon? Is he better than?
But let me tell you,
is he bigger than?
You mentioned
something like that.
You mentioned Sympathy and another artist's name. But the point that I wanted to make, which had escaped
because
me,
that artist is
which is also speaks to when you're saying, they just give it to someone who's adjacent.
Yeah,
it's not that someone is adjacent, but respect that someone understood the game of how to market themselves to that position where they are the first name that pops up in someone's head when they're thinking about your continent.
Just think about it. Don't think about Chameleon before you think about Eddy Kenzo.
I mean, in so many.
You're the one who mentioned.
In
Congolese.
It depends on who you're. It depends on who you're. In some circles, their first African artist might be the first African artist to come to their mind. They're going to think Tyler.
Yeah.
While in some other circles, right, the first African artist that they're going to think about is Angelique Kidjo. Do you see the difference? Depends on who you're speaking to.
There was a scenario where MTV was coming here. MTV Music Awards.
I remember.
And there was
2020?
Yeah, I think so. And DJ Khaled was like, yo.
No, that one guy started fighting for money.
Yeah, so
that was a different story altogether.
But I think, Colin, the award issue is not the way you take it is different. At least I was there when Radio and Weasel was nominated for International Act BET.
Yes.
And because they deserved
those guys were labeled Africa's duo.
Yeah.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Africa had two duos. They had the P Square and they had Radio and Weasel. The P Square could sing the same style. Radio and Weasel were totally different. And those guys' performances were done all over Africa. And they were, by that time, because that time the biggest artist was Ice Prince. And
who was a hip hop artist, by the way? But
Radio and Weasel had music all over Africa. Those are the same artists who used to write for the Wizkid's music. So they were too big. You know, in Uganda, one thing that we have is...
They write for Wizkid, or they just wrote one song that they worked on?
No, not one song.
Like two songs.
The reason Radio was gaining respect all over Africa is because he was beginning to pen for people like Two-Face. People don't know this. But he was beginning to pen for Two-Face. He was beginning to pen for P Square. He was beginning to pen for Wizkid. Like the pen is one of the most important things. And for him, he had this gift that whether English, Luganda, reggae, akubirayo. You get me? So he was one of those rising stars that we really, really had, whose respect was Ngatekoma in these boundaries of East Africa. Now it had transcended SA, Nigeria. You could mention a radio name and they know who you're talking about. Ghana, they would know who you're talking about. They hadn't done so many international tours, but that's the thing which comes with time. And it comes with, again, which brings me to another point, the struggle of back reading. One of the reasons we brought you here was to grill you properly. Muchomo.
Chocha.
Hey, a good chocha. The other thing is that you guys want these artists to always succeed, right? But the thing is that Momo basindikeyo, where you don't even know if there's a cliff, or why there's a forest, or why there's a desert. You don't even know what they should prepare for while they're going. You go. Uganda beat international. But you've sent this person without water, Msindisemu desert. You've sent him without any supplies, go Gambe Bugambe. Until you sing, you go. Not knowing that most of the other people that you find that are successful have their, to use the analogy of a desert, they have their oases, oases. You get me?
We also have.
No, we are starting to. We are just starting to. But trust me, a creative like me can get to New York or can get to Los Angeles, and you think you have an oasis or oasis. Kumbe, the people there have never seen an artist like you.
Not even heard of anything.
There's nothing out there to support you. So you realize that, A, I'm Vasco da Gama. I must set up the seaport myself. You get out there and you realize that I hate to use the example of Christopher Columbus. But you can get to certain situations where you see your people, they are there, right? But if you really look for a Ugandan studio that understands a Ugandan sound or an East African sound, you will be hard-pressed to find one. And you find that the ones that are established there are of other nationalities who have formed their cliques, and over now you're so new, you might be the new threat. This is their joint. This is their. That you get to. By the time you say Ashake has blown up, because I was moving through Santa Monica before, our lovely place. I was moving through Santa Monica and I saw a poster, and I was like, YouTube Theater presents Ashake. I was like, damn, Ashake is coming to LA. But then I thought about, because on the same weekend I was having my own show in Boston. But before I had the show in Boston, I'd looked around the infrastructure all over the USA to see where I would find people who understood what I was trying to do. And I was like, I don't think Ghanaian artists or promoters go through this. For me, I had to find people from Kenya, Rwandese, Ethiopians, who understood what I was trying to pull off. And then a Ugandan guy to bring it all together. Right? I looked for a Ugandan band because it's easy to hire people from other places. Nayo muntu agenda okunkubira ngoma ya Soda Jinjalenga elimune oomph because he was there when I first released the song. It's a whole different experience. But these guys have been building on top of that for generations and decades.
And the other thing is...
So for me, in order not to break the bank, Because if I need that quality sound, I need to fly people in. Gundi tumuje Texas. Gundi tumuje Arizona.
But Zamba.
Yeah.
There are two things. There's making the sound.
Yes.
And the song is good.
Yes.
And there's pushing the song out there.
No,
people to know it.
I'm not talking about the pushing the song out there because that's the easy one.
That's the hardest one.
Whenever managers are pushing the song is the hard bit.
It is.
But let me tell you, that other song that you're pushing, if that other song does not have a representation of where you're from, it's hard for that song to make impact. Look at all the songs that have managed to make impact, and look at how they were produced and how they were pushed.
I'm going to differ with you from that section.
Yes.
The hardest thing is pushing a song out there. In Uganda, we consume. That's why you see all artists all over the world.
Maybe don't take it there. My point, Jim, I didn't try to make it. I see, it's or whatever, or it's easy or it's hard. But I'm saying that the type of song you're trying to push determines whether your job is going to be harder or easier.
Yeah, that's true. But now there's an issue, Zamba. I've got an opportunity. I haven't traveled many countries, but the few countries that I've traveled to, mostly in Africa, playing your song just even in a hotel. Countries have a system whereby they have a rotation where they're supposed to play only their music, the patriotism. That's why you see when
we
the likes
have
of
that law here.
No, we don't.
But
when the likes of Eddy Kenzo, because Eddy Kenzo's song doesn't have good production.
Yeah.
Eddie Kenzo's song doesn't have a Ugandan identity. City Alos.
No,
I'm telling you the truth.
The guy is
compared to the likes of... No, I'm telling you. I know the song City Alos. But when you I've ever been to a country. I've been to Nigeria and I asked some guy, do you know Eddy Kenzo? And he's like, yes. I'm like, can you play for me this song of Eddy Kenzo? And he told me, no, I've left that laptop at home. The guy played Nigerian music all over the night. He told me, I even know Chameleon. I'm like, you play at least a Chameleon.
He has a special laptop for Ugandan music.
Yes, those countries are so patriotic.
Hard drive.
He left the laptop home.
But you guys realize that that's an excuse because that's an excuse. Because I've been around these people as well. Okungama right now my laptop najire sewaka.
Abangobye.
This kugobye. But because one thing I've learned.
But you can find one thing I've learned.
DJs hate people who request songs. If you're the type that goes to the DJ's booth and requests a song, unless the DJ is open and he says, please make requests.
Zamba.
But most DJs I know hate people who stand in front and begin requesting songs. But the reason why I'm telling you that it's an excuse, nowadays, DJs have programs where you can go and download anybody's song in an instant.
You can even stream it online.
Yes, but now...
no more the royalties clear.
No, the issue is also... Bashaki bemulengera bemuwana ba Davido. Those guys have one thing that's pushing them further. And the credit that I give to our artists, the Rizzos, the Chameleons, Banabana, they've pushed their music manually. Manually. Wiz on the radio, genda kubi iti. You don't know what Jeff Chiwa did to struggle to push whatever they did. Nenga Wizo alikulebo ye muni Ice Prince yali ando basone by then. The Eddy Kenzos of now are competing with the Banner Boys of Atlantic Records. Tibabera ne budget. Wana music. Tine Eddy Kenzo na kuolima nelo hitting. Big Tulye yakola party after party. Nete tumena producer yakola party after party.
He produced it himself.
You understand? But the song went global. Ne singa lwa luyimba lwa mulala, they put in a lot. Banabana we have talent.
No, Akati, it's where I differ with you guys. Let's take the example of Big Trill because I know that story so well. Big Trill's song was produced. Ngaine nyimbezo biri. He wanted another song. Everybody said this one is the hit, which is usually a typical artist dilemma. Everybody tells you this song is the hit. I
know.
But long story long, he puts that single out. He didn't even master it. But the one he did developed legs of its own, and then they shot a video, and the video's marketing plan was, we're going to use all the DJs that are our friends and put them in the video. they'll play the song on their own. And that's what happened. The song was everywhere, and every DJ who has a DJ friend sent it to their DJ friend. Song was all over Africa. Before we know it, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm getting a phone call. We hear this guy was with Baboon Forest. You get me? Big Trill is beginning to get calls from Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, who want to remix the song. Actually, they wanted to take over the song. Yeah, Bamugambe Bugambi Ntichi.
What the platform.
What the platform. So he tried to create a better deal with the situation that he was with a Nigerian guy. And I don't know how that ended. Never in their thing. But all I'm telling you all of this to say, today kuchirinti, the type of song that you're pushing, yeah, is what determines whether your effort is going to be hard or simple. That Big Trill's party anthem represents basically the Ugandan spirit. Twagala okuba ekibala.
Era yava mu nyegenyege.
Ochiraba twagala okuba ekibala, and now I'm creating the street anthem for this spirit of ekibala. So for Big Trill to produce that song, particular song, he understood the Ugandan spirit to the T. Nechigoma yachichusa nachijja mu hip hop. Nakuba chine chirimo a little bit Afrobeat. Nenga it's not even like even truly Afrobeat. It's just more in the vein of what you call it, the Ugandan chibala. Chibala chafa chukubye. I'm telling you that if you're looking for the same katwagala production to chiteke wagulu, tugenzeko bamubanafa baina studios ezakabi, and I'm looking for the producer to produce that for me. Also, when you're describing what you want.
Yeah, because it doesn't have that feel, that touch.
But yet that which I want is what's going to make me differ from a Davido Burna Boy and. So, waneno chiva waneno that the structure jetulina tetunaba kujizimba to help us penetrate easier. There were Africans that used to travel to the Americas. People don't believe this, but I'm a historian.
You can work remotely when you're that side.
Walingangawo edda kati nkuzizayo BC. Like way BC.
Because now that excuse now it doesn't work.
No, it does.
You can be in the US.
Yes.
No, and you still get work done.
Nzija Muganda wange.
Way
BC 19 danyo. There used to be people who used to live that car, whatever walinga Morocco, Mali, whatever, that corner. And they used to go to America. So these people argue that they were the first Africans who took to America. This Columbus story is bogus. By the name of Olmex, you guys can Google this. But these guys, how they used to get the Africans and they have canoes, how can they cross this vast ocean? That's nonsense. But these guys had studied ocean currents. Ngamanyi wano bwenteka weriato mu mwezi gw'omukaaga in the 6th month. By this time, the winds are a little bit dull and the current is going to just take me straight there. So, even here, it's not about the effort. That's why I disagree with you saying it's hard to push a song. Maybe you don't need to push. You just need to lean into something. Chigwe. You know what? It's about nti oina eriato already, which is the music. Marketing ojitegedde. Product eyo bwebera nga ntuufu, it's a smooth sailing paka ku end.
But G, he has a point because even
with
locally
all the
here,
we have.
to like push a song, you must have a budget of at least 15 million and above. Locally.
Where?
Locally here.
And it's right.
In Kampala. You must have like 15 million and above just to push one song.
Internationally, you have
now,
to have 10.
What about the other side?
No,
you need like 50K.
No, even on playing your song on BET, this one I've been speaking it on camera, I'm very sure. Playing your song on MTV base, you have $2,000.
You see?
Guaranteed.
One spin.
No, it's not one spin.
It's not one spin,
that
but
one I know.
You pay for it.
That one I know. Whether it was wali wane yali enfu. Yalinga, that guy used to take a lot of musicians' money here. People used to die or to be on Trace. Trace used to take people's money. People used to travel up to Nairobi, South Africa, to know your mood, to take up with Trace. Guy used to chew people's money. And they have a Sanjay only once. Until the Trace organization, I think, got wind of it because there was a lot of bad blood developing. And then they chased the guy away. And then there's like, now, if you want this is the criteria, this is what we're going to follow to get your music online. But I know all of that. It's really hard people spend $2,000 on MTV. They spend $3,000 on ABC. I think as a nyinji, you're not going to spend your money like that. But one thing that works out always in this digital age is how smartly you market without money. Yeah. Money can only take you so far. No, but the relationship
with money, but with the little money you have,
a little money that you have, you cannot negate money in the business of pushing music. Actually, the biggest budget should be for marketing.
Yes.
But what makes sure that budget is efficient are the things you do around your campaign. So, we as musicians need marketers.
Influencer.
Abatambuza flash.
Sabatambuza flash. Whatever music marketing is a whole science of its own. Because again, it goes back to what my Oji was talking about. At the end of the day, it's like sales psychology.
You need to
understand the character of the community you're operating in.
And what you're selling to them.
What they need and what you're saying to them. And it needs to relate, again, back to your brand.
Yeah.
So, omuntu asobola okukola ebintu 1,000 and then you just do one move like this and you equalize.
So what do we say about those who make it through internationally without a budget? Okay, let's say their songs have hit.
Like who?
It has gone viral.
Yes.
Yeah. And the chances of them recapping the same thing, that's where the budget comes in, that if you don't have it, you can have a chance and you get known, get awards and everything. But the consistency after that is what shows that, this just landed on you, it wasn't your thing. So you don't have your structure figured out. In that sense.
Most people underestimate the power of luck in this music industry. Yeah. Most professionals will not even admit that there's a lot of luck in this thing.
There's a bigger percentage of luck.
Count luck.
Most especially
you
see the word you used, viral?
Yeah.
It's not a common word used to anyone.
Yeah.
Viral means something has just gotten out lucky. Luckily. Out of hand. That's why you see an artist blows out. It does a bigger song.
Before they even know the artist.
Then you look for the next song. Because in Africa, you've had artists, the Stone Boys, apart from the Brenda Fassis who maintain the thing. But apparently, locally, it's very hard to have an artist who has had a song like Eddy Kenzo had. And then it goes, you know how big Diamond is. But Diamond doesn't have a global song. Yeah. He doesn't, with all the money that he has put in. Because, like he said, luck has to be on part of it. Diamond has a boy, he's called, what's his name?
Harmonize?
The rapper. Leave alone Harmonize, the other one. In his camp, he has a guy who has a BET. For him, he doesn't have a BET. Rayvanny. But if you don't even me, I don't even know Rayvanny's song.
You guys, I'm going to tell you something. I know a Rayvanny song, and actually I landed on it by chance. It's because he collaborated with an Indian girl.
The remix of Tetema, I think.
Her.
The remix of
Tetema. Something like that. But it was like a dance.
Oh, Mama Tetema.
No, it was.
That's where my issue with the awards come in.
It's Tetema.
It's Tetema. But it was like really nice. The video was really nice. But let me tell you guys something very surprising, right?
Yeah.
You might think I'm lying, but trust me. You guys have seen that thing where people in Batekao Bundia recross on the street and they're asking people, who is this? And people are like, Mr. T? You get you remember who recross was? Now, in the US, whether you like it or not, BET tujimanyinga abaduga vundi yakabinyo. Elejja nenyenya every year. But sometimes you're in some circles and you tell people, I want to get VIP tickets. I want to be for BET. And they was like, what's that?
What is BET?
And I'm like,
but
then second year nejana ogamba omuntu who is in entertainment genuinely. No mugamba, I'm trying to find backstage tickets. Not in Gandimu crowd. I want to find backstage tickets to BET. And you're like, I don't know what that is.
No, but that goes back to the other thing that you said of the DJ.
For BET tugira bange yamanyi nnyo ate yamanyi nnyo in our circles and in our market.
No, but in the US it's not, is what you're saying.
It's big in the US. It's big. It's black entertainment. It's really, really big.
Yeah.
But waliwo circles beat jetatuka. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's not. People will be like, what's that?
And I'm sure there are very many situations in Europe that are also not big designs where we'll be like, what's that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
You know, Europe, so the way they consume music is so funny.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's hard. The way Europeans consume music is so funny. Like apparently, one time I was walking on the streets in Europe. Actually, I was in Stockholm, and I was traveling, just touring. Then I passed by a restaurant that was playing Nigerian music, Rasta, and I was like, the restaurant was pure, the other color. Guys were enjoying, were eating their food. I was like, I froze. I was like, if these artists can play in this restaurant, trust me, because the reason why I was surprised is because people were saying Burna Boy is performing in stadiums where only black people are there.
We had that argument with G.
Yes.
What are you talking about? Your argument is different.
No, you were saying, you see, Nigerians, for them, they feel shows because
that's what people
the
in
Nigerians
Uganda
are mainly
think.
that side.
No, Nigerians are actually not mainly.
Ira Star has transcended. Ira Star's marketing budget is different.
She's not Nigerian.
She's Nigerian, of course. But Ira Star now, Ira Star now.
Say what we have you.
Ira Star can go for Coachella. Right?
Really?
But Coachella is too big for her.
No. Ira Star is going for Coachella. Trust me. With the moves that she's making, she's going to Coachella.
But that was before she was too big, because that was her first song.
So Tyler and Ira Star, right? You think Tyler can do, but Ira Star can't. Look at the colorism.
Tyler can't do nothing.
Look at the colorism.
You know why? No, it's not the colorism.
Look at the
Do you know why Tyler can?
Here.
Do you know why Tyler can? First of all, there was some racism issue there. Tyler, there was an issue. I have a bias with Tyler. There was
that's what I was
musically, Ira Star is bigger than Tyler.
In the strip club?
Musically, to me, Ira Star is bigger than Tyler.
Put respect on Tyler's name.
But Tyler had some advantages. Tyler was speaking fluent English.
Ira doesn't speak fluent English.
No, Ira's music is pidgin English. Yes, Ira Star's music is Nigerian stuff.
Ira is Nigerian.
Yes, but even the accent that she sings in and the words.
That point you're making is not. I can break you down the point you're making in one go.
Can I first finish? Because I observed these girls very
Tyler,
crucial.
Ira Star, the other one speaks pure English, this one speaks
Tyler
English.
in element.
As if Sean Poa Yogeda straight English.
No, Tyler's... Okay, there are two songs. There is the song, the Rush song, and the Water song. When you listen to the Water song, anyone can relate to even the child, because the English, the accent, everything is them. That's why I see it was easy for them to push it. Ira is a typically African star with the pidgin English.
Your point you're telling you. Your point you're telling you. This other guy, Wama.
But there was even bias.
Rema sounds like an Indian man screaming on a song.
But for example,
he's
Zamba,
Nigerian.
For example, let's go to that.
You can't hear what they're saying, but it's a global song.
Let's go to that one. For example,
it's a chat topic. The people who use language.
No, it does. It has an issue, by the way.
Who?
For example, that song.
English is a lie. This is a fallacy.
Okay.
Zamba, you cannot tell me. No. But
English is not a Lugaflow.
Okay, no. All right, guys, let's not forget this.
Lugaflow International.
Let me tell you, that Grammy Award had Davido, had Burna Boy, had Ira Star, had Tyler, had even Rema. You cannot tell me out of the 5. How? With all they have big songs. How? There was. I even know the songs. There was Ira Star's Rush. There was Tyler. Tyler's song wasn't bigger than
Water.
Water wasn't.
You guys,
listen,
guys.
Water wasn't bigger than Davido's and what?
Guys,
unavailable.
Guys, maybe in Uganda.
My guy.
Maybe
Water.
in Uganda. Water.
It was water shut down.
The planet Earth on a map, and you see so much water. That's how much water was everywhere.
Shut down the
that
internet.
song was everywhere.
It was just viral.
That song. It's Diamond.
Yes.
It's Diamond.
Water. My guy.
Leave alone this water and Barara, water from Barara. But water was everywhere.
Yeah, it was the biggest song when it dropped.
But that's the luck I was talking about.
Yeah, that's luck. Because if this guy had...
It's luck, it's brilliant marketing.
Yeah, but let's see what she does with other songs.
They are doing very well.
But yes, because Unavailable had 2 artists, and the song was too big.
Unavailable now. You can't compare. I'm not available.
You see, we've gone to the language issue.
Yeah,
that's what I was explaining to them.
That's not our point. That's
the point.
Okay,
the accent issue and the language issue.
That's not our point.
That's
not our point. Our point is not.
You even see the way he sings it. Okay, you sing water. Tell him to sing water. You sing water.
Even though
you sing water.
So you're proving
it was the language issue.
It wasn't a language issue. Banner Boy was killing us here. You go bow for the result. Go with that dollar. You go bow for the result, my nigga. Like it's not about Yeah, you're right.
And the Banner Boy thing.
It's not about.
But even the Banner Boy thing has issues.
Yeah, Banner Boy thing had.
Guys, we're making so much noise. We're making so much noise. Let's bring it together.
Yeah.
Let's bring it together.
Hey, Banner Boy had.
No argument we had to Kide, let me remind you guys. Our audience. This whole argument, the whole argument began by them saying, Ira Star cannot do Coachella. They said Ira Star couldn't do Coachella, right? And I tried to tell them, Oba Tyler can do what. And he raised the point and then said, the other one's English. Nemugamba Sean Po Yakube to be really broken. To be together Fenana to Kubaraga. So you can't say Ira Star is not Coachella material. The other one was also trying to make a point, Banner Boy performs in a place where there are many Nigerians while you enter the restaurant.
That's what you said.
Yeah. I'm coming to that point. I'm going to make that point. While you said you entered the restaurant where there are like so many white people consuming Ira Star's song. And I said Ira Star has transcended so many boundaries, right? That her thing is being consumed on the merit of it being purely amazing music. And one thing I know about Europeans, they love their music. There's no kajanja. It has to be good music. It's not like music. Americans, where you can just shove it in their face so many times and they take it. Europeans are like,
they like good music.
Pick that and I'll also have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Those are Europeans.
Yeah.
If a song is good, they will take it. You had a point.
I was going to make the argument. I don't think it's just Ira Star. I was going to make the argument. I think it's Afrobeats in general. As in Copenhagen, randomly on a train with my friends. Take to the airport, and does, somebody, and they're playing Afrobeats.
Yeah.
Not playing it. So I think it's Afrobeats in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like for example,
because in New York, one of the biggest artists played on New York radio, surprisingly, is Davido.
Yeah.
Davido plays in New York taxis, radio, barber salons, and he's. It's not about.
But I think it's because of their marketing.
But the point I was going to make, because Oliabadang accused of Gamabuno Banner Boys people, when he's in a stadium, most of them are Nigerians. The point I was trying to make to you when I was advancing that argument was that never na Uganda bali mu diaspora bakuze. Right? That I could go. Yeah.
In Jamaica, and they were playing Eddy.
Are you sure?
Yes. We have been in so many places where they have been playing our people's music.
Azawi, I had Azawi somewhere in Lagos and was like, what? And I asked her chick, do you know this artist? She's like, yeah, she's Azawi from East Africa. Do you know the country? Like, no, but that's Azawi.
It's all about the branding. It's all about the marketing. It's all about what type of music is being pushed. But the point I was trying to make for all of these people is that Uganda's, you go for Banner Boy show and there's so many Nigerians. Obviously, Nigerians have to come through and support.
Yeah.
It's your core audience.
Yeah.
The point here is that even for us, the diaspora community has grown, right? That I can charge $50, $100 for a show, and Ugandans will show up. Half of them, half of the show will be Ugandans. I'll have some Rwandese, I'll have some Kenyans, some Sudanese, people with ties around this area where my music goes. And then I'll have some people who know my name in America also showing up, maybe like a 10%. Our name's Juza show. Banner Boy is the same thing. That you can go to a Banner Boy show and for 2 nights, half the crowd is Nigerian or Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you can't even differentiate of one East African or they are Nigerian. Mostly black people. But that's not a slight to Banner Boy. It's just simply saying your people are willing to go that far for you, that when they announce the ticket prices, they don't say, oh, white people buy now, black people buy later. No, the moment they announce that tickets are up, people are buying online immediately because they want to be there. So the same thing is beginning to happen for even East African acts.
But I think also I've noticed that the way you market your music also matters, the way you attract the crowds. When you because according to, for us, our marketing ends there. But if we had a weight of the way those guys have the Sonys, like for example, when Keiko had Sony back in the day, if they had pushed how well the way they do with the Davidos, trust me, she would be there. But now we are at a level whereby GNL releases his album with his Kamani, he pushes his songs, and they reach where they are supposed
to. Let me put it out there in the world. GNL does not want to be signed, has no interest in being signed. I will never want to be signed. I'm an independent artist all the way through. Yes, the only thing I can welcome in my life at this point is a partnership.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, most people, signed is a whole different thing from having a partnership. Signed means I'm putting my money in you, I'm dictating when you're releasing your music.
No.
I'm the one to tell you, Gwembuzi, genda kutua onkolere sente. Mochiraba, but Drake asiba kutua. He signed. But then there are independent artists who will never leave Texas. Ngane is a millionaire. He lives in this mansion, only makes shows around his neighborhood.
He has a good
comes back
distributor.
home, he has time with his family, and he's chill.
Today I'm going on tour from this month to this month, after that to KOYIKOYI.
After where you dictate and you say, you know what, I'm only going to tour and do shows for only 4 months in a year. And I'm the one who dictates, by the way, even how they go. So there are musicians who have dictated their lives that way, and it works for them, it's comfortable for them. And then there are musicians who prefer to have a bigger push from like all these big labels, and they literally help them push their brand forward, right? But that means that people have invested their money in you, you lose a little bit of your independence going forward. While for me, I started this whole music career because nalisagala kusala konviri, and I wanted to do hip-hop music as a form of expression to provide for my family. So anything that impinges with my freedom. So I'm an independent artist, but that's me.
Actually, that affects your creativity.
That model might not work for everybody.
That affects your creativity whenever someone pushes you to the other side.
Is it safe to say that we are mainstream back at home and we are underground international?
I think right now, there's a very big point in that. It was that question for me or him?
No, all of us. It just came like, because I'm like, I heard you guys saying, oh, I was on a, like she said, I was on a boat and they played, Eddy Kenzo track. In my mind, I'm like, okay, that's the attitude we have. Like, oh, now Ugandans will be like, you see, Eddy Kenzo is big. You see, so and so is big because they played the track, here and there.
On a boat.
But when we okay,
this man thinks. Tell this man you on a luxury boat, please. Because I was
not a boat, not the UV boat.
He's the point. He's the point.
These kids are very disrespectful.
He's the point. No, honestly, he's the point. Yeah. There are no speakers on a canoe, you guys.
but don't you guys feel special when you're like watching a movie? Because nowadays even our music gets to international movies and soundtracks.
Yes.
Don't you feel special when something from back home makes it to like?
No, it doesn't feel special because I want the person to make it there.
If Thanos rings where's nebazanya KOYIKOYI ngakuba omuntu blow, you want to feel some type of way.
It feels good, but I want to call G and ask him, yo,
did you get the
bag?
Of course I got the bag.
Okay, we are giving you platform. So how do you get to represent?
Platform exposure. Actually, this is my message to all local presenters and people booking, but promoters. Please stop that language, because that language is exploitative. There's nobody you're giving a platform, simanya exposure. You should learn to pay for the art. Whether an artist, tomumanyi or bomumanyi, you're using them, otaddewo emizindalo, otaddewo speakers, otaddewo lights, you paid all these service providers, naye omuntu agenda ogiyimbirako ye tomusasudde, it's exposure. It's a form of exploitation, actually.
True.
Because without this person, you're not going to be able to hold a crowd.
Yeah.
That's how you should look at it. Yeah. And the musicians, remember the first rule of entertainment that I told you. In order to be a successful musician, Mujimani, you know the first rule of being a successful musician? You know the Njidemu? It's called you pay me.
But it's for the artists. Yeah? The rule is for the artists, not
like,
for us.
Oh, shit.
But what you're
that
saying
is the first rule of every... Actually, not only the creatives. Buli muntu agamba nkolera logeno tofaayo nja kuteekako. No, pay me. Because I'm taking time. I took time to learn this studio, this studio program. Njitaddemu obudde. Ebyo ebyokulinda musimanya exposure. Waneeno ate simanya abantu batekokuddamu mbu bakumanye.
Naye ekintu kyoyogera kituufu nnyo kuba event organizers and promoters have an issue. Akola budget nolaba nga agamba zino za radio, zino za TV, zino naye nga alina crew gy'atudde nayo egenda okurunning around to make sure that thing happens.
No budget for them.
N'omubuuza n'omugamba okay, osasudde wa sound 80 million, osasudde wa radio. N'omugamba naye bano abaana bano abagenda okuleetera kutunda tickets, they organize, they make sure everything is right. What's their budget? N'agamba atujja kulaba show ng'ewedde. Kitegeera. Then the show ends is like nawe laate tukoze. Naye nga bati babanja. Kitegeera. Kati omuntu n'omugamba me I want my run around money. This amonaga utayagala kukola ndi muyambo kukola walugezigezi.
It's a form of exploitation.
Yes.
Dear musicians, dear friends, dear creatives, anyone who is calling you on a shombo exposure oba omuntu akumanaginga nagamba jangu okole ne show ya bwerere, it's exploitation 101. Bakikozesa in everything.
And
that's
even
exploitation.
Yeah, but you see,
you shouldn't fear to like name your price.
Don't fear to name your price, know your value.
Those things of us
from
guy,
day one.
What is your budget?
Singa fena twakiriza ebyo simanyambo first wait and you become famous. No, for me either onsasula emitwalo 5 if we agreed emitwalo 5 njagala. It's my transport. Yanzizayo ewaka.
Let me tell you a story.
Until nokula notuuka akakadde bubiri busatu. Otherwise, these people here, they don't value creativity. You're in a community that doesn't value creativity or creative arts. Babalabanga badongo. So if you're a mudongo, act like a mudongo. Go sing for exposure. Balageeko sebo mbolina talent. Naye tujja kulwala waneeno ate otandika ebyakawash.
Actually, let me tell you a story. One time I was at Cricket Oval when the P Square came.
Yes.
But that P Square show was the first show they did where they were paid $200,000.
Yes.
But Jude told us, you know what? Because Jude was respecting Mozeredi and Weasel so much and Jeff.
Yes.
He's like, me, we used to sing at a cost of $50,000. Then we went to 60.
Yes.
Then I noticed that my artists were so big for that money.
Yes.
I sat down and told them, you know what? From today onwards, we are performing at 200,000.
Yes.
The artists were like, no, we are not going to perform. They spent 2 months, 3 months, 6 months.
No gigs.
They even reported to the mother. Those twins.
Yes.
You know, we are not performing. Jude told us to charge highly.
Yes.
Jude was like, no, if it's not 200,000, we are not performing. Trust me, 6 months later, they had a gig in Uganda.
Yes.
And from then onwards, P Square started charging high. Actually, P Square was the first African artist to charge that highly. And those guys made it bigger. So I was also want to implement on what you've said about artists. Yes. If you feel like me, I'm comfortable charging 10 million, that's your fee.
Yes.
Hey, charge a guy.
Yes.
Charge a guy.
Hey.
But know your worth.
Yeah.
Charge a guy.
But depends also if someone has a bar of 200 people and he tells you, I have 4 million. Don't tell him, I want 10. If it's not 10, you know he's not going to make 10. Yeah? Be flexible. Because trust me, yes, they say Burna Boy charges 1 million, but Burna Boy doesn't charge 1 million.
It depends on brand. It depends on brand because as a manager, you've looked at the contracts, right?
Yes.
You've looked at the contracts where, yes, a bar is a fitting at those many people. That means I'm too big for that bar. That means my brand can only perform at an arena of 2,000 people, at least. It isn't that you're supposed to perform everywhere.
You can't just accept every show.
Some Jay-Z.
That's where you go wrong.
That's where
you go wrong. Recently, Chameleon posted a video where Akon was performing in a bar. Yeah. And the bar was that minimal. These are all your fans. This is all business.
Yes, it's business. It's business.
Yes, but
and I've also been to strip clubs where I see a rapper is being paid 100,000. While I can clearly see that this venue here, King of Diamonds, they have not made 100,000 this night. But the marketing of having that rapper in that venue holds a value worth even like 300,000 to that club. Not the sales for the night. But the value of you hosting a GNL in your venue holds so much.
That's why.
But then don't pay me 4 million for the night.
Saying you charge the guy 10.
It has to be my 10, price.
Whether he's going to
whatever price we decide on.
Let me tell you this.
How much do you think we make a night?
No, let me tell you.
What does that have to do with my brand?
Let me tell you on a management perspective. You know, we managers have an issue whereby an artist thinks he's big. I'm going to say things. Yes, okay, where an artist is big, okay.
That's where the problem is. That's where the problem is.
It's not where the problem is.
No.
Ask with the manager.
I'll have a statement tell you. It's the basis of all Ugandan psychology as why the industry kamekaganya okula. The industry kamekaganya okukula. No.
Industry afekuze.
Kakonye.
Kakati, let me tell you one thing. Nina muyimbi kuba muyimbi. Kati kankunyonyoleko.
Kati kansoke malirize point why think is bad.
Yeah.
Why think is bad. Yeah. If you go to a shop, nga waliwo display, ngwegala gula sukali, and they tell you this sugar, Chinyara, is 5K. Yeah? And they tell you this sugar, Jolaba, is what's another company?
480. The ones that go up in ma.
Lugazi, Lukachira, ganga 10K. Yeah? Well, this other one, yeah? You're 50K. You get me? They're all different types of sugar. You might have the same result with take a muchai. But you're like, what you wanna say? You think all this is not sugar?
Ego.
It's not ego. It's a matter of value.
Yeah.
But someone
value.
You can't even say
value. Here's where the problem
we
comes
all
in.
have ego.
Value is. Here's the thing. Managers value what ego. Promoter where you got ego.
Promoters and managers are different. Promoters and managers are different.
Let me explain. That's why I mentioned two categories. I said promoter, never manager.
GNL. Chikusala kochi. Ogenda.
I actually say ego, but I'm still explaining right now. Let me finish my point. By platform. Let me give you the platform.
He says because the shop is small.
No, let me give you the platform.
Perspective.
Guys, let me give you the platform.
Like for example,
Akon.
Guys, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
No.
Okay, finish.
Guys, let me finish my point. Oli kuduka, Ozze twagambye sukali wa mitwalo 5 ogambye mbu ego. No, it's not ego. It's value, right? It's value.
Yeah.
Sukali oli oyinza omulya emyaka 3 n'akulwaza kansa.
Yeah.
Sukali ono omulaba awooma ayinza okubeera mu ne impurities eziri awo ziyinza okuddugaza amannyo in 6 months. This sugar was 50K. I know value that are so pure it's even beneficial to your body.
And they tell you,
so it's
just
not
use
ego.
1 spoon and
you just use 1 spoon.
The other ones need like 3.
Bano bagai abagamba ego baloza twaita ego. They are standing at the shop of the seller,
Yeah.
and they are arguing. Bavuma, they are abusing the shopkeeper. They are abusing the shopkeeper for selling this sugar so highly, ignoring this sugar's value. And that the factory that manufactures this sugar, which is expensive, also employs the most expensive people out there.
Yeah.
The expertise that bring you this product, which is good for your health and has the most value, is this high. So it's not a thing of think, because value is determined by the seller, not the buyer. bogenda kusobola ku affordinga sukali toyombesa wadduuka
kankwe submission yange
a scenario where someone goes
and
to
I bet
Serena.
and I bet in my last submission and I bet now taking it from your very example that the people who told P Square wali abava mu mitwalo mukaaga n'abagamba kati bali 200,000 I bet they told them the same thing. They think they are too big until they proved for 6 months tetuletaga bintu byamu until they proved their worth that they are worth that value that mwefudde abazoole abataba value yaffe but we know our value so it's upon the artist to determine the value, not you the buyer.
True. There is truly too much disrespect of the artist here in
of
Uganda.
Course,
no, not only in Uganda. Kamweyo Zamba ze kamweyo issue. Olaba engalo zino. Oziraba. Zona ziri meka, ziri 5. Tezenkana.
They are not the same, of course.
They are not the same.
Yes.
Nezo ziri ku kibatu ekyo. Kimu. So bwoweta bwoti zona zeweta. Osolo ziweta buli ku lumu. Nezo ziri inclining to what? Omuyimbi are providing a service, they're providing a product. Service, what you providing?
I'm a product. It's a city service, I'm a product.
It depends. It depends on your management and what you agreed between your management. Because because it's all over the world musically. When you're muyimbi agamba nze sijja kuyimba. Kati nga bayimbi ba Jay-Z, abababiri abakyala. Bo batogenda kuba bisayo twena sereze bagala. Neba y'omuyimbi nga ye agamba nga Arakeli tinze bemumpa emitwalo gyange 10 Kampala nja kuyimba n'enyimba 2 bemumpa $1,000,000 nja kuyimba South Africa nja kuyimba nnakumeka 2. So it depends on your management and how you agree. Kakati bisere bisinga ba artist abasinga agamba nti nze chenjagala eba clashinze mu management because in Africa I'm sorry to say a few artists respect the management. But at the end of the day, the management makes them the money.
The problem with Africa, and using that analogy, is again in the assumption that the manager should be the boss of the artist. But when you're dealing with independent artists of a certain ilk, right? We actually source and employ the business partners that we call managers.
Yes.
But it's two way.
But one mu Africa mwachikwata bobi mulowooza mbu muyimbi tasobola kwerowooleza. You're used to dealing with stupid people. You're used to dealing
no.
You're used to dealing with stupid people. The psychology that runs this industry thinks an artist needs to be held on their hand to cross a road. And I reason with people always, never go GNL, only different. You're different. They are so bent on the thing of putting an artist down that you wonder that does this come out from a certain insecurity? Is it a beef? Because I really don't understand it.
Artists. Then they became managers.
Abasinga bagana byagana bayina buhiti bwabo bwagana bayina ebintu bwe bafulatinga bwe batafulahi
kiri bwekiti
waliwo some kabifa kali awo
actually let me explain to this to Musa.
But it's not, no
we have one thing.
It's not only let me first finish this one. There are two. It's not only actually ekintu tokisanga when I say it's a community problem or perspective tokisanga mu bapromoter and abamanager bokka mbu simanye bagundi because these are our brothers, we work with them abakitegeera era ogenda okulaba nga Joshua Baraka and the management they're off Wizo Nizo whatever management they're off era wale ba disagreeing bakonagana ne bigenda ngokitegeera. So this psychology that runs this music industry giganyo kula is the one that makes them not want to pay. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same psychology that makes them think of the art in Uganda or the culture or maybe into a bit creative as an afterthought. Yet they forget that everything in Uganda can be marketed by Uganda's art.
Yeah.
Bibale message country you're not cooler. Chichiganya because to them science should be at the forefront and art should be at the back. Yet God designed this world. God is an artist. He designed this world. Yeah? He's not the artist.
There's a science.
He's the greatest creator. We are creatives.
God is
God is an artist.
God is 3D is everything.
God yasoka nagamba. God yasoka nagamba. God used the sound, which is music, the music that reverberated and created all these particles, was commanded by a voice. He spoke art into existence. It was sound that came before anything else. God is a creative.
I also have another
so for Gankwe, omuntu okuzimba rocket, anyone who builds a rocket, for NASA to get inspired to build a rocket to go to the moon, right? It had to be the poetry of a Shakespeare describing how beautiful the moon was, making a woman's face look good. Oba describing love nagamba ngenda kunonera omusana, oba ngenda kunonera omwezi. It is art that inspires scientists to innovate.
True.
Steve Jobs is not a scientist. He was an artist first.
Yeah.
Nemwe mulowooza mbu I'm a politician, and then the art comes later.
No. To management section. In Uganda, we have two managers. We have manager who is the boss, and we have manager who is an employee. Do you agree or you don't agree?
You say manager who is the sponsor?
No. It's I wake up and I have my money. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do a business, but I'm doing music business. Yeah. The music business that I'm doing is Collins. No Sanga Collins, Muyimbi, he's been struggling down there.
Yes.
Even putting a song in the club is an issue.
Yes.
Not when I Collins ngenda kuwa 30%. Ngenda kola video, ngenda kola audio, ngenda kola promotion. Some even paid rent and
nyimba zonna ziteka kubeera mu club.
No, just example.
Okay.
So Collins nakkiriza bulungi. Ushegera. Nomuga Collins nze I can, because of your experience nga a business person in music. Nomuga, you know what? Ngenda kufula brand. Kali nokwata Collins nomuteka maka sente ko ngali 30% ye happy. Collins nakuboma ko gosa. Collins nakubogo kwingali comfortable. Koina bakubogo kutanagwa ku Zamba. Zamba namubuza naye ofuna percentage ngoyimba nnyo. Zamba namugamba nfuna 30 ne Muhammad na chali wange 30 mala. Wa binkola yabyo namugamba anawe akubba. Oya akubba nze sobolo kuwa 50. Ngakolera biri. Oshitegeera. Oba nsobolo kuwa 30. Kali nobera biro omusajja olije yakujja. Oshitegeera. Yes, it's your destiny nti olina okubeera star. Niyo omuntu ono akutteko n'akuzitooera. Example njikuweera ku era P Square.
Yes.
They had their manager who was their brother. Ne bakuba omu natuka n'agamba mumanyi akasente kano tukagabana bangi. Nze njagala kikuba konzeka. Ne bamwegeere naga nenga agamba kikuba yeka ye weakest link. Ne bamuleka.
Who is the weakest link now?
Gochimanyi bulungi ne bamuleka n'akikuba. Ne bakuba. Bebakuba nakumona ga
yakumashoka.
No kiraba. Ne baleeta ono munne n'akuba. Kati bwako wenagaze kansigale nona ina discipline muziki agulina ne bakikuba. Along the way waisoni emyaka nga ne music akuze tebakyasobola kukola ki. Ngobwana buzze rema bwani. Naga mumanyi tuddemu tukole ki. Tukolagane baddamu okukolagana. Yes, they made up. But I think they split it. Because, do you know why they made up? Because they reached an extent whereby they looked at the Davidos, asked 700,000. The Wizkids asked for $1 million. They are a legend. Tulye ono bwaba akubye nnyo no yayawuka nayo asaba 10 tosuka 10. Kwa promoter gamba izo 10 ojikuwa kanji we bali ate bali balina hit okusinga.
Kanjiwerema.
Kanaga
Fireboy.
Kanjiwe Fireboy. Kwa Fireboy ibujenzi ujja kujja wena wa 40k. Oyagala 10 toyina na nyimba zikola.
Fireboy wa 40k ne mujerega bana.
It's an example.
It's an example.
Like
there's so many masasi here.
Just point of reference.
Okay.
Jitayagala kuri reality.
Yeah.
Oshegera. Ntiji abantu batugamba ti Burna Boy 1 million. But Burna Boy so mufuna ku 500,000.
Of course. I just want you man. Yes.
Naye kakati ekiriwo nti artist ye nga ndagala ategera bintu ebyo. Namba of artist bategera muziki gotukirize. Artist yagena mu studio naayimba. Hagwe manager n'ogamba guno muziki. Gwe manager n'ogamba guno olimba kendo kutte bwenti. Bwenduyisa mu kikubo abatunzi b'amatoke ne baluuliriza. Njakola sente. Ye artist yagala kintu ekyo. Gwe muwe sente zibeere wano agenda akuba abantu nga tamanyi oba bafunye otya. Yes, that's what I'm explaining to him.
Did you see where you differentiated the managers, the two types of managers? Yeah. That's how you should differentiate the types of artists.
The guy
makes sure actually that you draw a very, very clear distinction between maybe there's a difference between an artist CEO.
Why are you being defensive?
There's a difference between no because Mobuzabuza banda
but the majority
let me explain to him the artist boss. The whole room has turned against the artist.
Why are you saying it like that?
No, except my sister there.
Because your sister understands. You know why your sister is quiet?
Okay.
Because Tagala could have
now they explain that.
Because I've actually had this conversation with him a long time ago.
Yes.
He had just moved
yes.
to the States, and people used to be like, and then I had a very deep conversation, and so I understand what he's saying.
Ngende nyimbire mu vale nga solo kuyimbira mu Hollywood.
But necha munyonyola artist nga employee.
But the difference. Here's the difference.
Let me finalize my submission.
Guys, no. Kasuke malize gundi yange kubanga wo.
Tuanzikiza kumalayo.
Let me finish my thing. There's a distinction, like you said, between artist managers, who are the ones who invest the initial capital, and then the managers who are employed by the artists.
Yes.
In the same way, I want you to draw a very clear distinction between the artists that you think managers know music more than them, and then the music who actually understand the music business and the hit. You cannot compare an artist like a Jay-Z, who is the CEO who has signed other artists under him and has managed brands and has managed companies even up to Def Jam.
And that's the other money artist.
GNL.
But I think Jay-Z was
that's an artist CEO.
Also had guys around him who thought for him.
That's what I wanted to explain to him.
No, this is what you see. They think an artist has somebody who has to think.
No, let me explain to you.
That's what he says as well about Dem Dash.
Yeah, but he says, but in his lyrics, if you've been listening and not skimming through it, he says that the market out plan was me.
Yeah, but
okay. Just as an example, About Dem Dash here, always like Jay-Z. Where is Dem Dash now, and where is Jay-Z?
No, Dem Dash is not there, but there's someone else there.
Even up to now,
there's someone there. I
know Jay-Z's team, Rock Nation, Eddy.
Even during his speech, he was like, much as we don't see eye to eye, but this wouldn't be if it wasn't for them.
For the partnership. Dem was an employee of Jay-Z. That's when Jay-Z split from Dem is no more. There's a jigger.
No, because the other one grew bigger than him.
Okay. Make another hove. Jay-Z said it himself. If you're sure that you made Jay-Z,
Jay-Z is great.
This is a hip hop podcast. Jay-Z said, if you're so sure that you made Jay-Z, if you made Hove, make another Hove.
No, Jay-Z artistically,
it has been 20 years. It has been 20 years since he told him, Kale, bobanga guankola. Kola yo Jay-Z omulala. Jay-Z nakwata Kanye, na mfula. Nakwata Rihanna, na mfula.
Yeah, but even Kanye West will tell you.
But all I'm saying is that there's a distinction. Yeah. There's a distinction between a T-Pain, between a T-Pain, a Lil Baby, and there's a huge difference between a Rick Ross and a Diddy and a Jay-Z. Just like the industry, Uganda no gamba mbundo nzategera hit zamanyo gitwala.
I think Jay-Z was a good student.
A good student of I want you to pan the camera all around Waneno.
Yeah, I think Jay-Z was a good student.
Besides my sister.
Jay-Z
when
took
you pan the whole camera
small,
right here what you're looking at, and what they're trying to establish, is the same thing that I was telling you, actually psychology and the consciousness of. Some of them are not even aware that they have it.
Okay,
but this is what the close-mindedness of Uganda's community against artists and creatives is what's exemplified here. But they don't even know why they reason that way.
But you see, G.
No, we are looking at.
Let me ask him something.
Do
you agree that?
Okay, guys.
Do you agree? Do you agree that even managers are creatives? Because you artists musicians, most especially in Uganda, you've tagged yourselves as artists. 1, 2, and as creatives.
How can you call yourself an artist?
Yes.
You think you're big.
They will bring something else. Then Ugandan musicians, they have artists. 1, 2, they have creative. I think they're not even creative.
So you see the problem.
There are people who write
even
for
managers
them.
want to be creatives.
No, managers are creative.
Everybody
because
should be
because
creative
stay
in
in
their
your
way.
lane. Stay in
like
your
this.
lane.
For example,
G, are you saying they are creative in making music?
Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's exhibit A of the problem that I'm telling you why industry in Uganda ganyo kula. What you having in this room? You have a producer, you have a manager, you have a producer, and then
you have a writer.
Psychologist. You have a psychologist. Saidizeri waliwo musajja ye akwata bukwasi kamera nasekala alaba drama ina. But what I'm telling you about the psychology that governs this country when it comes to artists, they have a secret beef that psychologists need to study. Baba wene dagala baina hatred I'm telling you I'm telling you from when they are announcing government programs to the things that they give priority, they have a hatred towards artists and in the creative industry. These are the people you try to
yes, and we make money off them.
Yes,
but because they have a bigger voice, they will say something and everyone will. No, you're playing a sympathy card.
That's another.
You're playing a sympathy card because you're never funny.
And you're blackmailing.
Never funny.
You're blackmailing. Guys, I'm telling you.
You know, artists have two things. They have fans and they have a bigger voice. So when they say something, but fan is sympathy. Nedobozeri is sounding. Kati go jam manager no gamba. Omuyimbi oyo namukwata ko nafuka kabigamba. Go solo kwata ku muyimbi oyo go manya amanyige because yabadde mutala. Ostegeera. That's why you see most 90% of Ugandan managers and African managers don't pull out their heads. Like for example, Mbuli and Mbuli are the CEO side of an artist. For example, you have an artist in East Africa, Tawanya, Bamita Diamond Platinums. Diamond Platinums, he hires and fires his managers. But Diamond Platinums are manyi go muyembi, ga manager. Chovola Diamond jamusanga nga manager go yaine ya soka. Achamulina. Ayongera ko bwongezi. Yes, do you know why he has 3?
Of course.
Because the first one yamutekayo namanyako managa kusinzira kumanyiwo kati okome tukongereko.
Then he got an international manager.
That's the same thing with Burna Boy. Burna Boy has the mother. But the mother realized that with her strength, she can't push him more.
Now you agree that those are the combinations that win. Actually.
Yeah, you are
still explaining.
But the problem here,
and you cut him
I'm
short.
still explaining. I was giving you 2 managers.
ADHD. Point manager.
What is ADHD?
Yes, what is ADHD?
Attention deficit disorder.
It's very sympathy card. You see, for me, I have a
Because right here we have another misunderstanding. We have another misunderstanding, yeah? Ochaba, right now we're having a misunderstanding. They're thinking I'm playing
a sympathy card.
Card.
But that's what you're doing.
No. Let me explain it this way. Which is a misunderstanding here. When I say I have ADHD, right? I'm actually articulating that I'm a genius. I'm not playing a sympathy card. You're playing an ego card. Because for me, usually, my interruption of people, it's rude, but it's because, actually, it's not even great for podcasting. But it's because nze oba otanso kwogera sentences satu. Jola gamba nalabye yoda.
Yeah, but
in your mind.
Nechiba chirungi no nindako kubanyi zo interesting. We are all how do you know that I'm a genius?
No, that's the
you could be, and you could be, but it's a condition that I have, and I think another great speaker in the world has this. Bamita Gary V.
But you see,
Gary
he
v,
was coming to this point, and then you... Before he reached this side.
Yeah.
The only difference is you may know, but how he's going to paint
let's conclude this point because right now we are making noise. Guys, I'm the host of this show. Guys, right now since we've made the point, right? I just wanted to drive okubalaga emotions zamujizigenda towards that's number 1. Right? We are not enemies. We're actually people that should collaborate with each other.
Yes.
But you should also notice, checking an ego goes both ways.
Exactly.
For Diamond Platinum's manager to allow him, to allow him to add on another manager, right? That means he swallowed his ego. Nagamba neomanyi, my strength is here. Someone else understands that more than us.
Yeah.
It would be better if we added on someone. In a teamwork.
Yes.
That means he listened to his artist and then saw maybe his artist. He might have even advised his artist. Bongere kochi or muntu omulala. Those are the combinations and partnerships that actually work.
Yeah.
But we've also faced people. Onyongirako otyo omuntu omulala. Ebyo mbisobola. Banji. So you guys see it from your perspective, but also from the artist's perspective. And let's go back to the Jay-Z example because that was so public as well. It got to the extent where Jay-Z was in partnership with his brother. But then his brother tried to do a corporate a hostile takeover in his own company. Now later Cameron, abere President Wachi, Rockefeller, and Jay-Z is looking at this guy. He's my artist. He's my artist. Artist Tamanyi. So Jay-Z is coming back to promote his next album, and all he had to do, because this other guy was doing all these lackluster moves, he invited the whole Def Jam. And they natamuitan okola marketing for his next of his next album. Because internally Rockefeller was facing problems, but Jay-Z was still a bigger brand, and he could stand on his own and have a deal with Rockefeller, with Def Jam. So there is inner fighting, but I want you guys to go back and see the video when Dem found these people having a meeting.
So when he lashed out.
Yes.
Like so.
As an artist, you face also a problem where your artist has an ego, where it's not good for business. Ngofunye ba partners abalala bangi nnyo, much as you would not want to leave them, their ego makes you want to leave him. Or you're trying to even tell your brother Omanyi, right now where we are at, we can no longer do the things we used to do when we were in year 2 of our career. Nenga tasobola kitegeera. Achali mu bintu bya ghetto.
And it's both ways actually.
It's both ways.
Sometimes the manager, sometimes the artist.
Yes. But right now, I think where we are, where we come to an understanding, because we have mutual respect amongst each other. I wanted to point out to you guys that this thing is both ways. And there is never a broad brush to a situation in Ogamba Bugaminti by artist. Ekyo kyo kinyiriza ddala. Tensagala kunteka mu category yemu. I swear, like you can't categorize me and put me in the same box as ABC, D, G, and Obabichi.
Bona.
And I see also on your end, now tuyagala kuteeka mu category yemu ne bantwala flash. Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, seriously. Yeah, because what we do at the end of the day, guys, believe it or not, people think this is just music. Yes, music is the spiritual part. It's the engine. It's the spiritual part of what we do. That's what the music is. It's the spiritual cell of what we do. But everything else besides that part is just 10%, by the way. The rest is marketing. That means an artist's entourage and his partnership with his manager is all about understanding what the brand needs and how to market it best.
True.
Yeah. Short of that, slavery. We are signing a deal in America after 4 years. Who told you we were married? No, it's a business partnership. Gwale ku company nobeera nayo for nti omuntu bakusibira ku company, you're being paid the same salary
for
30 years. Are you a slave? You should be able to renegotiate things. But wansanga nga sina chenina, and then you put me in these clubs and did all these things. You have no idea how much I went in the mirror to practice this craft of freestyling until I'm that good. So we both make sacrifices on both ends. At the end of the day, we should be governed by contracts that should be renegotiated, and nobody...
And understanding sitting on the table.
And understanding the structure actually of your organization.
Yes. Because
either I'm the boss employing you as the manager, or we are partners equally contributing money to this venture, or you are my boss and I respect your money and your investment in me.
But that's where artists go wrong, musicians.
Sorry, managers that go wrong.
I'm talking about myself. Musician musicians have a way of life whereby musician Mugamba leta yo. Ulini zako bwomugamba manyi leta
Is there someone who wants
to work? So completely. GNL. We are an industry. Inze I'm not a big brand in terms of management, but I've struggled way out. I've managed 10 artists, 6 upcoming and 3 big ones.
Yes.
But there's one thing that I found commonly with musicians. Omuyimbi era ng'omuntu yenna omulala ategeera nnyo akasente ke. Omuyimbi nguyagala, you want to test an artist, gwe walinako baartist ngo basayinize mu label yo.
Yes. That means the manager ate artist.
Yes. Ati kati gwe oli Jay-Z. Kati bw'omukwata n'omuwa emiliyoni emu n'omugamba nkuwadde emiliyoni yo yeeyo n'omutestinga n'omugamba ku makya omanyi kitugenda okukola bwatutte miliyoni 9 ntwala emiliyoni ze miliyoni 2 naye twagala lwaki tutadde vidiyo oluyimba luli omugamba leetayo kale 10 agamba gwe kati gweteekamu tujja kwebala kitegeera ye akasente katayagala kakola ki nejjukira feesi ye yegenda wa feesi ye yegenda ku TV yeserebu yesta yafuna sente. Most of them zena artists esaawa eno gwemanyi yawukanye ne manager we naye manyi ekyaleese obuzibu artists babazi ba clashing for years, almost 10 years. They are big. They book
shows without
the book shows. The manager na booking manager actually chibawangaza nti manager your respect babadde bajimuwamu. He raised the artist well. Artist yatu save anafunamu ego amaanyi. Artist tayagala kuyimba.
The manager. Olira language eyo. Olira language eyo. You guys miss these things because the manager raised. That means one is a parent of the other.
Yes, in Uganda.
Why does it always have to be a patronizing language?
No, in Uganda, let me tell you one thing.
It's unfortunate.
Mr. General, let me explain him one thing. In Uganda, we managers don't manage brands. We even manage personality.
Everywhere.
Uliriza kuba GNL bwakera kumacha nibamusanga ku street nga yambudde nga David ashibakubira kintu. Oyo muyimbi oyo abadde ki? It comes part of you. Bwana mubala go basobola kubira. Why batugambe GNL yalwanye.
Do you see?
Kati gwe no mutuza no mu molding nga no mugamba manyi
let's first put a pin there, my brother. Let's first put a pin right there. That language that you've used to describe an artist or describe artists is not new. Actually, I could take you out of this place, nende to omuntu omulala who is into management, and they will say the same thing about their artists. What are the 2 examples they usually give? Omuyimbi yalwanye, yeyambudde, yeswaziza. But I believe management should always, the industry has failed to grow. You guys don't realize this, right?
That's true.
But njagala tujje mu Uganda, because we're dealing with so many common examples here. But I want to take you back to speech Econ Jeawa, the young leaders, when he came for a summit. I think he was invited in Rwanda or something. And he said that the problem with Africa, why we have failed to manage our public image with the world, is that when something happens in Nairobi, right, you guys talk about it, and all over the news in the world, it's like there is a war. So he took an example of the attack which was in Nairobi, where someone was shooting people in a mall, right? And he said, okay, that was one incident, but all of us got to know about it, and it was everywhere on the news. It was like, don't even go to Kenya. That was the travel advisory, right? Because everyone was talking about that to a point where it was like, Nairobi has been raised to red.
Yeah.
And then he said, but you guys, do you know about how many shootings happen, mall shootings and school shootings, that happen in America? Where America is still the land of the dream. It's all about how you manage the perception. You guys promote the negativity always about the artist. And I'm not saying you, most of the times, the management, TV, it's like they're talking about people, abalinga batali na room or a part of a conversation. It's a very patronizing thing. Using a language that yamu why can't it be a partnership? Why can't you use the language where they're all on equal standing? But pedestal ziribweziti. Oli ategerero ono bamali jabo tebalwana mulowooza.
It's rare. Tuli mu scenario where
we usually see Bajo interrupting Balam's. He's a promoter. Managers, promoters is the same thing here.
But the thing
here
is,
in Uganda is the same thing.
But as we're speaking, G is making a very vivid point.
Gunda Wenkofira, wasn't he announced when he was having his thing with Gloria Buji something, Abitex, when they were having a go back and forth.
Yeah.
At the end of his address, because Nalabaka clip card is short, didn't he say he was introducing his own artist? So your promoters are also managers.
Yeah.
You wear the same shoes,
so
and
they are trying to supplement on
but
what
the language is, because I remember by Imbe Bargain and Muba criticizing Ogenda Spanish begging for money and whatever. I didn't agree with any of what was going on, right? Naye natunulira the language that was being used to the extent that omuya vayo no gamba nti gundi eno list y'abayimbi and what they deserve to be paid. I'm like, as who?
That's Kamanyiro.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
That's actually that conversation
they're patronizing
so
and devaluing. And this devaluing doesn't only happen to Ntimuyimbi. The more you devalue your artists, the more you remain here.
True.
But the more you build your artists and artists up, the more you get paid and the more value you create.
You're devaluing artists here. You're devaluing artists, the management in a team here. Because also because artists okutuka watu sao.
Yeah. But what was the crime? Saying, please pay me $5,000.
Yes.
But
to supplement on what G is saying, people should know.
Yes.
People should know that just because I'm in a position where I can't do what you can do for me, or put it at a level that it needs to be, it does not mean that when you do it, you own me. You get? At the end of the day, because people say, like you say, so and so raised the artist. It makes sense because when you tell the story, they found him on the streets, the things you mentioned. But at the end of the day, this person who was able, to inject that money to get you off the street, it's not necessarily that he would have done that without you. You understand?
Don't go there.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Yeah, true.
It's like you telling me, the car can't drive itself. But the car can be there and times we get it.
Yeah, true, but its value will not serve the purpose if people are walking on foot.
But there are many other options of traveling.
Exactly. So we are talking about situations whereby somebody is stuck just because you got them out of the mud, now you own them.
The owning
I think that's
different.
a wrong perspective.
No manager has ever said that they own an artist. The managers that do that, most especially, they feel that I know. They've done it on writing.
Yeah, they may not even know, but that's the language.
No, the few managers that have done that, they've done it on writing. I'm going to own your voice, which means your music.
Yeah, that is business. That is business-wise.
Manager Jana Gamanzi, I own that one. Because, first of all, we are human beings.
Yeah.
If you can break up with someone you sleep with in bed.
Yeah, then
if you can argue with your sister that you grew up with.
Yeah.
How about someone you found on the street?
That's the argument the managers make. I've put in a lot of this money and this person is...
Managers, basigiri. Sigiri yo jirabe mmere okujja. Esigiri enku zibeera nnyingi.
True, but you have to know.
Naye emmere bwejja. Esigiri bagiwa mazzi. Osegeera. Naye ng'ate n'enkira bagenda gyetaaga. So sometimes artist oyo mulaba bw'ayawukana naawe manager we era bwa moving on tagenda moving on yeka. He's going to get another manager. Osegeera. Kakati eno gy'ovudde. Vaayo ng'ocleaninze so that nejo jabagamba java wali walungi okitegeera naye ba musicians baffe balina ekintu kimu akeera ku makya nayawukana ne manager we n'agenda ku internet n'akola post nene n'agenda ku mawulire n'agenda ku TV ng'osirise kajjukira ffe we have a very judgmental ne tulina judgmental crowd ffe mu Uganda tulina crowd eri judgmental nti bw'ovaayo n'oyogera kazerenkera ku makya nenvayo nenjogera ku Afrigo oba ku Keko
spoil the brand.
It depends. Oyinza okugamba gomanya Africa emyaka gyemazeewo gwe agyogerako gwe. Oba olina gamba gomanyi amanyi gakkeko.
Forgetting that you are part of.
I'm part of this family. Okitegeera. Olina gamba ne for you're saying that. Yeah? Oba ne bajajinga nze oba ne bajajinga brand. Yeah, twadde tumanyikeko okuva dda. But because Uganda research judgment, Uganda we have three issues. Twerabira nnyo, to forgiving amangu, ate to patronizing amangu omuntu. Mu second omuntu katana kujudging amangu awo. Okitegeera. Nze onakola nnyo posts. Nengenda omanyono ye musabuzi online GNL.
I didn't know I had a reputation of.
Nengenda nensoma. Nze manyogera nensoma.
I only speak the truth. That's the problem.
You go beyond the truth.
It's the truth.
Because personal.
If you go into a deeper truth.
How you lay.
How you lay. There's something that Keko said is like there's a life that you live and it's called a life. But
the greatest Japadola that has ever walked.
Greatest female rapper in Africa. Ever. Even up to now, there is no one who has tried to replace her.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Manager akubya kalango
zeba mpayo muyimbi mu Africa rapper nga female. Esaawa eno tuve mu byedda. Esaawa eno tewali.
Ate mukazi wa AKA.
Yani.
Nadia.
Nisimuuli yangana.
Ngate
managing rapper. Mpayo hiti genzi ena jasobola okuyimba.
Banange.
I think I'm managing a rapper.
Managing a rapper. He knows. He's just marketing his artist.
No, that's what business is. Yes. This akubeera nga ntunda kikopo kino. Nga nawe otunda kikopo nengamba
kikopo kino kyakabi.
Bikopo byombi byakabi. Butolina kikopo nze ne kikopo. Wadde byonna twatoddeko ne that's marketing. Ebikopo byombi byonna
it's like Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
Yes, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they more or less taste the same. They are
different, actually.
They are not.
They are different.
They almost the same.
Oh, I see what you're saying, that they are almost.
Yes.
Pepsi is different from Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola is
but
different
that becomes it's because of how they were marketing.
And no, the taste on the tongue they're different.
Even the taste is different.
Pepsi. Bwabachuka at least
twalabango bulango bwa Christmas ne todaringa soda.
Wamabula because tuli mu generation yemwe twakulya sebo. Era nga twakulya mu generation ya Coca-Cola ngetamuza kirole ku Christmas.
Of course. But also, did you see the ad where the kid took Coca-Cola can
nagena bottle?
No, yakwata coins na sulam slot na jayo can bili za Coca-Cola. Nazirinyako natuka kuya Pepsi. Pepsi, she went to the Pepsi.
You can imagine. And that's what they call marketing.
That was now battle marketing. But brands fight. That's brands fight.
Really fight.
Yeah.
Brands really fight.
Yeah. But I hope that this conversation helps people out there have an understanding of the conversations that people have around the round table, trying to build this industry. Dear managers, promoters, partners, you're not going to make this industry grow if every day was Zukuka you're talking about this bad musician. Tabigenda kula, you're building value on you're decreasing each other's value. Mwena mulimu symbiotic relationship. The more you promote each other, the more your value grows. The more you devalue each other in front of the people that would be paying you, the less you make, because most of you make percentages of what each other is paid. Sichecho? Pozi manager abalimu abali sharp asooka nayitira eri nakola deal ye nakomawo neeno nayitira deal ye nali emirundi ebiri
akola receipt book eyokubiri
nakola receipt book banna tickets bweziti ate naye nakubayo obutabo bwa tickets ezize. We'll discuss that in other conversations, but this should be a very symbiotic relationship going forward. And one thing that we need to examine as a country is why there is anger towards it. You hate your artists. The crowd loves them, but you hate these beings called artists. Yeah, we need to examine where that anger comes from.
Some envy there.
Neka envy rakava mu anger. Waliwo ruta that we need to discover. But most of these relationships in the beginning, they're usually the best. We need to examine what goes wrong usually.
Because one is sharper than the other in terms of
one begins seeing the other as a fella, or one begins. Usually, every single about dividing, which is really, really funny, but it goes back to the basis
not even
of creativity, or the basis of even life itself. For some people, it's as simple as a woman.
That's not simple. That's a woman.
Sometimes it's just omusajja nayimirira mu makkati gaabwe and things become really, really tricky. Ogenda okulaba omuntu abadde alaba 0 nga tayinza okulaba 8. You get me? It's as simple as that sometimes. But in good businesses should be governed by contracts. These should be business structures. You're all geniuses. Buli omu atunulire gifts za munne agambe gundi onsinga marketing, gundi onsinga okumanya hit, gundi onsinga relationships with people, gundi onsinga, all these other things. Like, I believe this has been a very productive conversation. As you can see, I've managed to fully exhibit that there is a hatred for creatives using the specimen on my right. All of them ganged up on a one. They ganged up. My dear soul, they ganged up on me. And if I wasn't like built and framed from the Butaimbwa of Kawempe, if I wasn't hard like a diamond that has been made through the furnace, they would have overpowered me, which usually happens that when we are voicing bakugamba apadongo mwefuge.
but you see,
we are concluding the podcast. Go on.
Criticism is not hatred.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Critiquing somebody is not hatred.
But you know that sometimes hatred is confused admiration.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with me criticizing your work in a positive way?
Oh, my God. That's another topic for another day. That in the US, it was something where someone could give you a compliment, but you could dissect it and peel back all the layers. And when you find it, there's a seed of hate.
Heavy attack.
Hey, like it comes through from underhanded comments. So, for example, kati nfunye examples bbiri nga bwe nabagambye nti ndi genius obwongo bwange bulowooza ebintu 8 kati joy okubalaga example where we don't build value in each other. Yesterday someone came out here because we were hosting musicians, and then he came ngayagala ku interviewing a musician over here, but instead of giving me a compliment and telling me, oh, you guys are doing a very good job in the digital space, like the podcasts you're doing, the productions, the music, and whatever. I like how Baboon Forest has rebranded in the media space. He could only give me that compliment while putting all other musicians down.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there.
Yeah,
you witnessed it.
But that's how it is in
But
the
I go through so many of these other things.
It's so wrong.
And the problem is that in many circles, when they compliment other artists like that, achitwala as a katibanomba singer. But for me to lead the bigger picture, and I'm like, but you are a media person.
Yeah.
These people that you're speaking ill about, you could just actually, Baba was struggling in that space. Shouldn't it be brother helping out brother so we all rise?
Yeah.
Why do you just criticize? Tebabimanyi. Musomese. Tolinga bali. Ola go GNL kolamu ebintu wababuka bano. At the end of the day, I think it should be our duty to inspire each other towards greatness.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. Recognizing each other's gifts. But singamenti musicians are infallible. They all have their faults. But in the same breath, managers, promoters, the whole industry has its own faults. So if we're looking at each other, let's look at each other on a human value, on a human level. Even when we're examining problems, is that drugs, mental health, those other things. Most people think only musicians face these things. But because they're just the pronounced people, about spotlight. But this is a community that's very undiagnosed.
Yeah.
So if we're to deal with these problems, today humanity wetandikira. Even the business tandikira mu contracts was tandikira. The relationships zonna zikomewo. Hey. Someone is looking at a Mission Impossible. But that's a conversation of another day. I've been having Chintu Muhammad, manager of Frigo, and Keko, right here at the Baboon Forest podcast. Thank you for coming through and putting in your submissions.
That handshake does not look genuine. It doesn't seem genuine. Like
no, it's so genuine.
Yeah.
Let's do it for the camera, but when they go off, what you say, you know.
I think it's a mark of maturity and intelligence, and I speak to the intelligence in this room, right? To either agree mutually and agree to disagree, or be open-minded and listen to each other's, submissions and comments. So let us know what you think in the comments. I know this is going to be. This has been this is crazy. This is crazy. But I've been blessed to have in the room Mr. Ejakite, the Epolon himself. Mr. Gilles Collins, producer, ate former manager. So he's also I know bitterness. So actually, now that I think about it, besides you, because I don't know your story fully, I know two people here. All the musicians they have raised have been stolen. Ngabakakuba hit wavered. Taken.
I also have one artist, Wanzibako.
So the envy is there.
There is
no envy, but
if you examine, we have a psychologist and psychiatrist in the room. If you examine deeply the seed of all this envy and hatred, there is somebody who hurt someone, and hurt people.
But it's because some
ladies and gentlemen,
us,
that has been our podcast.
See you on the next one.
Subscribe. Go do the.
We let them go.
Notification bells.
We are not the type who own artists.
Let us know what you think in the comments, and see you for Nemi Luano. Zambaland podcast. I'm your boy G. Peace.